Yesterday he was a regular stroke. The girl thought, why he gathered all so suddenly together. Today is going to hunt. Although at first I wanted to just pick up stones, the patience broke into him. Everything has changed from the moment he launched one hook. His life rolled in a completely different way. It was a game of workout of beautiful girls. It was spinning around them. There is only girls in the game. For half a year, 10 million downloads. New characters are constantly added. Players spend crazy money. The latter is new, just a paw, but it is already without a penny of this month. As always, the chance to get something cool is minimal. Aocure has already lowered hundreds of thousands, but does not stop. Its purpose is Luna Tian. Finally, a box with a guarantee on a very rare drop. He was sure this is Luna Tian, but instead of a girl, a strange invitation scroll to another world. As expected, another hook surprise. There is only one drop. It hopes that not a magic card. It turned out to be a true invitation to another world. It can be used to move there. Hayakachi joked as a ticket to a global server. It would be cool. But what is really unknown? The scroll suddenly lit with incredible force. The next moment, the hero was in a place that was completely unfamiliar to him. Looking back, I realized, this is not a dream. It really happens. At first, it was not believed. Everything seemed to sleep. But you need to gather. The first thing you need to find is the shelter. It is not an option to stay outdoors. If there is no beast, there will be no chance. Snakes or even leopards can take place here. Looking back, Heihachi noticed a little horrible. Just in front of him stood a real goblin, and immediately rushed to the attack. It doesn't matter that it is clearly something bad. The only option is to run through. From fear, he pulled on the tree and tried to understand what he just encountered. We managed to escape. It's hard to believe that such creatures exist. Is this really another world? He remembered the invitation. Yes, he is exactly in another world. Pulled the phone out of his pocket. Panic. The main screen does not open, but managed to go to the case with the girl. I saw stunned. Initial level. No one, no things. Empty. I didn't understand where everything went. I decided not to panic. Phone is the only hook. You cannot lose it. As a newcomer, he had to get a guaranteed item. Indeed, a lot of useful fell out. Hard hobbies were difficult, but the moon was not received. However, he fell out an item that was not in the maiden case. One of the bonuses was the function of translating the local language, but she caused severe headache. Although the head cracks, the guy understood. It doesn't matter. He must move on. If everything worked with the objects, what about units? He was offered to call Noral. He agreed without hesitation. Sparks suddenly escaped from the phone, and a real combat helmet appeared next to him. He was sitting on a tree, and she, first hanged in the air, and then glowed to the ground. The landing turned out to be rough, though he was her first master. She was awkward, but it was more important to say something serious. It was not so easy. The guy started with a presentation, but she joked that he would have been working better. There were a few more to goblin, and they rushed to the guy together. You need to act quietly, open inventory, choose a weapon and shield. If everything is ready, the girl immediately dealt with the enemy. He did not expect such power from her. She said calmly, now your turn. Frightened, he sought help, but the Noral was sure he would handle. Avoid a blow failed, but, unexpectedly, there was no pain at all. She explained, even if he was beaten dozens of times, he would withstand. Heihachi won goblin. After the battle, the girl suggested to return to the usual actions. She called Noral Fania. You can just a Noral. Suddenly fell silent, and it was concerned. He grabbed her cheeks, outraged that she did not even prepare. And so it all started. This is how new life in the world of Gacha began. On the road, she is very tired. He noticed how fans breathing hard. He thanked for the armor, but felt that he would be faint now. He was not used to it. She agreed. Endurance clearly was missing. They already got the main road. Here they spend the night. She suggested using the subject, the usual camping set that disappears after use. Eco-friendly. Heihachi noted that it was convenient. The tent looked with enthusiasm. They warmed up by the fire, and the guy dared to ask questions. She became wondering what he wanted to know. She asked what she was interested in this situation. She explained, this world is completely different, and she was summoned to help him. It was strange to him where she knew that he was not local. It turns out that when calling the Unun, they received some of the memories of the owner. He wondered if there was a call for a call. How is the contract? In fact, no. Time is unlimited, but the number of units depends on the cost. So, after calling Noral, he cannot call anyone else. The system is the same as in the game. The starting limit is 15, and it just takes all 15. If the system is the same, then with the increase in the level of units should also increase. The girl looked at the owner. In order not to delve into difficult questions, it suggested using one of the subjects. She glowed with delight waiting for food. He was surprised that she was so happy. But for her, food is a real event. She is looking forward to it. A random lunch fell. After eating, the remains turned into ashes and disappeared. He could not understand how it could be so tasty. Even she did not believe that the hook would give out something edible. The next step was to find a safe place. It would be cool to find a cart to the city, but it is useless to hope for it. He slept deeply when Noral approached him. She asked if he was sleeping. The guy thought that the turn was replaced, but she said to get up and not grumble. He imagined that she wanted to spend the night nearby, and she was already asking how much he would fall. Their camp was surrounded by forest monsters. They attacked them. Among the enemies, even Orca. If there were only goblins, he would have coped. But he had to share the enemies. Goblins, he, orcs, Noral. She realized she can barely handle 2 orcs on her own. She asked the magician to remove the goblins as soon as possible. He was injured, but he did not feel the pain. This facilitated the case. The monsters were surprised by his weapons. It was very powerful. They watched the fight with surprise. It seemed to him that it was not very environmentally friendly. But now he could help Noral. Sitting on a stone, he noticed she had already finished. It surprised him. She said she would need help. Apparently the enemies were weaker than she thought. He pinched her for the cheek. Heikachi apologized, but he liked it for some reason. She asked not to do so. Such enemies usually do not appear here. The guy looked at Noral. He asked her to carry it. She considered it pathetic. He hoped that there would be a cart, but something went wrong. She grabbed his hand and ordered him to hurry, otherwise they would fall behind. The locals could not believe that he was the same guy who defeated Goblin yesterday. One of them reported that they almost came. They received only 10,000 coins, but most importantly, they got safe. They were thanked for their help. He remembered. You can sell falling things in shops. They will settle in a gorgeous hotel that night. The girl had already dreamed of a delicious dinner. In the meantime, he suggested buying something. During the walk, she found an institution from Yaktor. He thought that a little cost was not a problem. Well, there were extra money. But it was more important. His reflections were spinning around one: how to get magical stones to play in the game. However, the stones were not exchanged. He wanted to play very much, so he feverishly clicked on the phone screen. They removed 2 numbers, 4,000 coins. The sum struck Heihachi. He wanted to save money, but now there is almost nothing left. If they were asleep in the same room, they would only pay 3,000 coins. The guy was ashamed of the very thought to be with the girl alone. They took 2 numbers without food, but Noral was clearly dissatisfied with this. She had nothing to share one room with him. But Heihachi tried to explain what it could mean. She said without hesitation she wanted to be with him from morning till night. He eventually agreed to 1 room for 2. He understood. Noral wanted to save him to eat delicious. She noticed that he was considering something. He checked their statuses, and suddenly it became clear. Something is wrong here. There was only one difference between them, and the characteristics were just a gap. Its equipment was too powerful, and she was proud of it. But at the same time she laughed. The effects of the equipment looked absurd. The authors of the game exactly have made something. Compared to its equipment, it was really strong. Noral added that Escalibar has similar effects. During the battle it even glows with a golden glow. And Heihachi dreamed of just a real sword and a shield. He thought, how to charge a phone in this world? There is no charging, she replied. A charge here from magical energy in the air. In places with a high concentration of monsters, such as black orcs, the phone is charged even better. The main thing is to have power to survive there. She behaved like a mom. Heihachi could ask her anything. He asked how to go home. She didn't know. I didn't know how to get magical stones. He regretted that he relied on her. He suggested going to bed, but at first he wanted to ask something else. The question is, who will go to the shower? He is so tight with money, but the shower costs 300 coins per person. Hear and decide. To get home, you must first find a stable source of income. She suggested entering the Adventurers Guild. The next day they will check everything in the guild. And Noral, meanwhile, went to the shower. After the bath, it looked incredible. He couldn't help but notice her figure. He came to her senses when she called him in her name. He thought she was hiding her face in vain. She replied that the girl should not be so easy to open her face. He laughed, and she noticed and offended it. The next day, registration in the guild is completed. Now Heihachi will also be able to take a shower normally. They got the first task, to hunt. At the same time, adventurous tokens also received. The color of the token determines the rank. If you lose, pay 1,000 coins. He asked the Noral not to break him, but she was not such distrust. They went to the forest outside the city of Brunne. There is full of orcs and goblins. At first no one was met, but it did not last long. Suddenly a whole crowd of monsters jumped on them. Peridano flew among the clouds, and Noral announced, "It's time to hunt." The monsters appeared in huge numbers. It seems that in the forest there is their point to sleep. Something black and dangerous appeared unexpectedly. It was a rare creature. His pressure was felt even at a distance, a completely different than ordinary enemies. But Noral only waved his sword, and the head of the black alka flew down. It turned out to be black orca meat, an elite delicacy. And though it is difficult to kill him, the girl had already dreamed of dinner. In the meantime, Heihachi noticed something new in his phone. Noral was interested in it. It came closer. "The number of magical stones has increased." So unexpectedly? Is it related? It turned out that the rarity of the monster affects the number of stones obtained. That is, to obtain more stones, you need to kill enemies of different rareness. Even when the night came, they continued to hunt. A few days have passed since Heihachi became an adventurer. Its main goal is to collect stones for playing. They fought every day with black orcs. His rank increased from G to E. The number of stones reached 50. Time to open Heihachi Carnival. He was in anticipation. What character will he fall? He dreamed of the Chan's moon, but Noral reminded that in this world only ultra-rare and above the characters. Others, only objects. She herself was happy to get UR, but said a little chance. It was only a second time since it came into this world. Heihachi was at the peak of excitement. Mike chess fell, super rare, but not what he expected. He wanted to and decided to spin again. But where is the purchase button? Everything is too rigid in this hook. Noral congratulated with rare prey. By the way, there was a weapon she wanted, but Heihachi was disappointed. It was again Escalabar. The system proposed to combine two identical weapons, and it agreed. There was no such option in the game. But one thing is clear. You need to paint stones again if you want to get UR. He had a vain object, valuable only from the outside. He said Noral that he would give her something cool. She asked if the object had any use, but she eventually confessed. He was just sweet. They went hunting for stones again. The next day, they received an urgent task, the support of the team. It is necessary to carry out accompaniment through the forest near Bistro to the village of Rubelk. Heihachi wondered what about the forest. The road to the village of Rubelk will take about 2 days. It was his first expedition, but thanks to the hook subjects managed to handle everything. There were only 3 in the group. All have already been registered adventurers. If monsters appear, the same green adventurer of the D-Rang will come to the rescue as during the battle with the orcs. But Heihachi did not want him to rely on them. While there was a novel with them, everything should be well. In the meantime, she admired a plush toy. There was almost no one around, and the guy decided to try one item he received yesterday. He allowed to check the status of another person. Comparing the level of a man, he noticed that the characteristics were lower than expected. It surprised him. He remembered that there was a bonus, related to when you look at the woman. But which one? However, the system even evaluated the size of the breast. Noral immediately felt that something was wrong, and also wanted to look, and he blushed with shame. Suddenly, they heard a strange sound, too loud for the steps of the orc. A man ran to them, screaming to run. A giant monster appeared, 1 horn and 1 eye. It was a devil cyclops. The man said they should also run away, at least C is needed to kill him. But Heihachi did not bother. There was no place for escape. The monster had a huge supply of health and strength. If the fight is delayed, more enemies can come. Heihachi asked Noral if she was ready. He was surprised if it is normal to make a hurry. But Noral had a plan. Thanks to the boosters, they received increased protection and speed, and rushed directly to the monster. Noral activated inspiration. All its characteristics doubled for 1 minute. Her battle rank exceeded 9,000. Even the cyclops had to fall out of 1 blow. But he survived. That shocked Heihachi. His forces were on the verge. Even Heihachi could have extracted him. They were already happy with the victory, but the monster suddenly froze. Exactly what Noral warned. The cyclops fell to the ground. She managed to save the boy, but she saw her stunned. The true shape of the monster was revealed. There was no helmet on the head, she shouted. She hid, not wanting Heihachi to see her. He stretched her helmet. The girl lit up with shame and was going to return. He put her hand on her shoulder, sincerely apologizing, but she shouted. She felt pain all over her body and pushed him away, though there was no blow. "What is it?" Side effect of ability? If the novel cannot move, it's bad. They need to get to the medical center urgently. Hichachi helped Noral to get in the tent, left her to relax and calm down a little. He sincerely apologized for what happened to her face. She assured that it was not his fault. He was curious why she sought to hide her face. It may not say if he does not want, but he would like to know. Suddenly it is important for the future. She replied, it would be bad if someone saw her. Then she added, if he drinks a rabbit potion, he will quickly recover. When someone sees her true face, she loses confidence and cannot speak in a firm voice. He was surprised how important the power of voice is. But she explained, for the night is part of the individual. But the good thing I saw Okuridono. She considers herself strange. But if it is he, then just laughs. She seemed surprisingly feminine today. It was surprised to be surprised, but he thought, she is real. Alive. I immediately regretted that he expressed his thoughts aloud and asked to forget. But the girl hugged him, saying that he would be with him for the rest of his life. He warned, it is impossible to jump so sharply. She feels pain. And she really bounced. The next day, Noral was fully recovered. The journey continued without adventure. They reached the villages of Rubel. The task is completed. The message came. They need to go back to the runner right now. He showed Noral a new strategy. On the phone screen there was a message about a double chance of calling UR personalities. She was not surprised, the usual promotion. But he explained, the chance on UR is really twice as big. The event will last 10 days. If you try 100 times, a chance to get 2 UR at once. But you need 50 magical stones a day with Shakhtar. Usually they collect only 5, even hunting for 10 hours, a maximum of 10. But Heihachi invented how to lift efficiency to 50. He promised, now he will tell everything. She promised to follow him all his life, right? So, without objections, it scared her a little. They went on stones deep into the forest, outside the usual places. They learned where the monsters appeared. They found a point to sleep. Previously they hunted far from spins, spending a lot of time. But now the battle. Right behind the battle. Efficiency is increasing, because the novel can kill enemies with one blow. She wanted to go to another asleep, but he said, they would hunt for one. The time between transitions is the loss of efficiency. It is better to have a few spinners than run between them. They have found 5 points. The hunt was successful, but the novel was not happy. I had to meet again with the orcs. She was already tired on the first day, and she understood. This plan will not work without it. Hayakachi pleaded with her fight. She is the only one he can rely on. He promised to fulfill any desire and she agreed. A multi-day hunting marathon began. 6 days of continuous battle have passed. For Noral, this became a routine. The daily destruction of orcs. She could not live a second without killing the orca. Her behavior has already begun to strain Hayakachi. Even on the 6th day she was obsessed. It was justified by the fact that the council was able to fight. But Heihachi noticed that she wanted to say something else. He asked her to calm down. They are in the city, and she treats even people, but she could no longer exist without the thought of the destruction of orcs. He suggested that she return to the hotel. She is really worth a rest. Hunting was depleted mentally. Even in her dreams she murmured about orcs. There are 105 stones left. The pace was declining, but most importantly, Heihachi could no longer ask Noral about the impossible. They understood. It is the limit of their strength. Still they went again on the stone, changing the strategy. The penultimate day has come. Now Heihachi himself will go to the other point to sleep, and the novel will continue as usual. But she was worried. It is dangerous. He explained that if they hunt separately, they will remove the load from it. Otherwise, in 2 days they will not have time. She agreed, but it was still scary, to stay dangerous. The black orc was already chatting behind him. The last day of the campaign came. They finally collected all 500 magical stones. Heihachi Carnival opened right on the road. 11 chances for 10 attempts. He trembled in anticipation. Which girl will fall? The first attempt is a failure, but it was not upset. There are 9 more ahead. The second and third attempts fell the best super ripe liquid objects. They were sure. After that, the character would appear. The next was simple super rare, as expected. Heihachi hoped at least 2 URs with so many stones. It was unfortunate the 5th, 6th, and 7th attempts were given only super rage objects. Noral offered to rest, but he replied that he was holding on. The 8th attempt is nothing special again. He said it was still within the expected. But there are only 2 chances, and no UR. Yes, 2 more attempts. The hopes were melted. Noral sincerely hoped that at least one of them would be ultra rare. When on the 9th attempt again fell super rare, Heihachi became angry. How? The chance was to be double. Noral tried to cheer him up. There was still one attempt. She gets sick for him. Hayakachi realized. For the sake of Gachi, they posted for a maximum of these 10 days. But for the sake of Noral, which supported him all this time, he must take the last step. And again the same picture. He is crazy with disappointment. Heihachi did not understand why he fought at all. Is it all over? He was faithful in Gach. If he could, he would return to the first opening. And I would return all those magical stones. Noral reassured him. Today is just an unsuccessful day. Next time everything will work out. And they still have 6 stones. He did not believe that on one attempt could be obtained UR. But she decided to try herself. Everyone has similar moments. It is all that begins. She also once crazy because of Heihachi decided that he should rethink his actions. Suddenly, character. She could not believe it was a real miracle. Heihachi with tears of happiness rushed to her into her arms. He was offered to call the stealth perpetrators. Noral asked if he really wanted to call her. It turned out that she was a powerful magician with and even enough sweet. Although the character. But Noral said, "Don't worry, she is here." They agreed with her, though character and peculiar. The girl herself joked. Not everyone is so lucky to be called from the ground. The guys still regretted the failure. And here, a new girl appeared before them. She realized that she was summoned. Heihachi was going to present everyone, but she was silent, so he politely asked her to introduce. She replied, "What? Do you know who I am? Isn't that great?" They did not expect such confidence. Heihachi felt she wanted to join them. He asked, "Why? Is there any benefit in this?" And he could not believe that she could refuse. There is no way back, he won't retreat. It joins the monster's hunt. Suddenly she called him sweet. A joke, of course. But her brother is an interesting guy, so she will go with them. She appealed to the junior brother, asking her to take care of her. It was officially announced. Heihachi and Noral survived in the marathon. And the hook test. Their group of 2 became a 3. They introduced the ceiling to the guild administrator as a new participant of the team. So now they have a replenishment. The ceiling said she was indifferent if she had to live in the same room. Heihachi was not against it, but he had enough coins, so he offered separate rooms for the boy and girls. The girls were indignant. Is it unfair why he is separate? The ceiling would like 1 room for 3. It was not something special for her, so she asked Heihachi if he did not mind. Of course, he did not deny. To be in a room with 2 cute girls does not happen daily. But still, a man in a room with women? The ceiling joked that it was an almost forbidden area. She looked at him and thought, such a puppy look should be illegal. But he said he didn't mind. She promised to make him regret, which doubted before calling it. He did not immediately realize what she meant. And she just said she was just waiting for the moment when they would share the room. The ceiling began to rub Noral hair, but she asked to stop. The ceiling noted that this hairstyle was her hairstyle, and suggested to remove the mask. Noral was strongly opposed, but the ceiling was not asked to rest. She was pleased to see that they got along well. Heihachi was a little worried before causing the ceiling, but now he realized, in vain. He completed the viewing of items from the hook, and decided to check the characteristics of the ceilings. Through the phone he began to analyze her ability. As you should expect from the Magan, a lot of mana, but there is little protection. Her UR equipment is clever again. Heihachi also looked into the size section. He was not pleased that she was first size. He pretended not to see anything, but the ceiling immediately suspected. Heihachi hid the phone in a hurry. She could see the screen. He lied that he just looked at the hook items. He became tight and even a little hot. But the girl did not believe that it was all the truth. She noted that he was surprisingly well designed. Heihachi blushed. He was embarrassing from such actions. She suggested that he probably had claims and ordered to sit quietly, because earlier he ignored his actions. Noral noticed that they have fun without it. The ceiling invited her to join. She said Okuridono once in trouble, she would also join. I am grateful for her help, but asked Heihachi to stop. She is a little awkward. She asked where they were going now, but he was silent. After all that happened that night, he could not sleep. His silence annoyed the ceiling. She suggested first to go to the Adventurers Guild. It had to register her magic there. All present immediately paid attention to them. Heihachi did not understand why everyone was so staring. They were greeted by the registrar. He explained that today the ceiling joined their group, and they want to register it as an adventurer. The administrator immediately noticed. She is a magician. The woman was shocked, but quickly became aware and made their shape. Heihachi was surprised. Are the magicians so rare? The administrator confessed. This is the first magician she saw. It was a little awkward. Hikachi thought. Really, he did not see anyone in the city. He was explained. Most magicians in the royal army, and those in groups, have at least A rating. With every minute, more and more people were glaring. The ceiling did not like that her plate was different from the fact that her brother. She was explained, they have E level, and she is only on G. The administrator could not just change her rank, such rules. Everyone regretted her, but the ceiling was upset. She felt alien. The looks around did not disappear. Some men were already angry, as if Hikachi offended a girl. She suddenly decided that she would get an increase in lightning. And even now, I am ready to take the task. If you need to accelerate the receipt of Iranga, it is ready to blow everyone around. Everyone was scared. It seemed serious. The problem is that without F-roll, it is impossible to climb further. The rules are rules. One of the present asked about the appearance of Heihachi. He explained, all this is from the hook. Therefore, gear and armor are super quality. Yes, it looks noticeable, but the main thing is characteristics. Some noted that with glasses he looks smarter, but he does not wear them. Thanks to them, he can quietly look at the phone. No one will see anything. And yet, you can evaluate the size of girls. Hikachi and Noral were looking forward to when the ceiling shows magic. Suddenly monsters appeared. The ceiling decided that it is time to demonstrate their abilities. They will see the real power of the UR witches. She was the first to attack, and in a matter of seconds, she beloved all the enemies. She wondered the opinion of others. Noral just grunted. It's just funny. But Heihachi felt that she was not doing something. He asked if she had at least some weak spells. It turned out to be one of the lightest. Then she decided to show one more. The next attack, and the monster is pierced! She squeezed the water in the air and fired it. Noral was alert immediately. Something will be. And she was not mistaken. The ceiling was going to use something powerful. The boys realized that they would hit, and asked her to stop. It was at this moment that Heihachi realized. Here she, the true power of magic. They can destroy whole groups of enemies from afar. The ceiling is a really powerful arsenal. Thanks to her, their team now has an incredible battle power. The ceiling was raised to F rank. It was greeted immediately. She suggested taking the task of E-class right now, but Heihachi decided to leave it for later. He has another idea. Why not go to Sting right now? In the royal capital, last in the store, Heihachi heard something interesting. He asked if the merchant could buy everything from him. Added 2 more bags to that. The merchant agreed. I would have bought everything if it was not for the restriction. Its bench receives only 4 bags at a time. They were advised to go to Sting. There is full of shops that will boil everything. And there is a dungeon. It is a strange dungeon near the capital, which has found rare monsters and, rumored, full of treasure. Thinking about rare monsters, Heihachi realized. This is a chance to get a mountain of magical stones. The seller heard that even with adventurers, it is difficult for adventurers. And Heihachi is only E-rang. He should gain strength. But with such a team as now, including ceilings, the research of the dungeon is quite real. The ceiling was not mined. In the capital, there are probably many stores with clothes and sweet things. Noral also agreed. There will definitely be delicious food. Although the path is not easy, it will be possible to collect even more magical stones. They decided to go to Sting immediately. They joined a large column of carts that went to Sting. Heihachi prepared his own. It looked like a journey would be with other people. Closely, but you have to put up. Visa with them left Brunne. The road to the capital will run in a few villages and last 10 days. A few days have passed after the journey. Bored on the road, Heihachi suggested playing in stone rod paper. But it would quickly get bored. He was worried about the state of Noral. She confessed that she wanted home. But they seemed to be home. Recently she was so passionate. The ceiling suggested that it is better to cry. It may make it easier. But Noral believed that it was unacceptable for the lady. She was fought again. In a panic, she asked if she had a magic ceiling from nausea. But she answered, recovery is not her specialty. Someone suggested to sleep her to reassure, but Heihachi thought it was too much. In the window, he noticed something strange. He wondered, will those adventurers stand with them? Yes, they are a rudo. But if something serious happens, it can be too late. The help will not hurt exactly. And yet, the monster looked weaker than the cyclops. But Noral was still asleep. The ceiling said, its sleeping pill is very effective, not in the usual ways to wake up. Then Heihachi used the elixir of the hook. As soon as the Noral woke up, he said, it's time to go to battle. She bravely went to the battlefield. The ceiling thought, maybe it is worth it completely. Those whom they saved were shocked. With what ease, Noral wounded Minotaur. But even more impression was made by the magic of the ceiling. Noral decided, you need to get out of here immediately. She warned the guys, it's time to get up. Meanwhile, the ceiling has made a monster of a devastating blow. A powerful explosion came. The earth shuddered. The feeling of magic is incredible. Hayakachi realized. The ceiling is different from Norola's. Its style is more demonstrative, even shaky. It all happened after the Minotaur's attack. And all, just while traveling in a van, they headed to the royal capital, Sting. Finally arrived, the capital impressed with its scope. Heihachi would like to go to the Adventurers Guild immediately, but Noral was still feeling bad. If it is bad, she could relax in the hotel with the ceilings. She said that all is well, and did not want to leave Okuridono alone. But she barely stood on her feet. The ceiling gave her a potion and insisted that she drank it. The taste was terrible. But it did so much in the last days, earned a little help. They reached adventurers in the capital, reported that they had arrived from Brunne. The registrar asked for their tokens, and the ceiling said she also wanted to register. Each guild has its quests, so you need to update the documents. Looking at the data of the team, the administrator was amazed. There were no newcomers. Having apologized for surprise, she registered them and reported, they can take the quests today. Other adventurers also began to whisper. Heihachi understood, you do nothing. All the attention was not only because the ceiling is the magician. It is also simply incredibly beautiful. She asked not to flatter her. One of the adventurers approached her. She was surprised that he turned to her directly. He was called Dajus, the leader of the B-rank team. Hayakachi did not immediately like his manners. He heard that she was a magician and suggested joining his team, if not. But the ceiling immediately stated that in another group. Dajus was surprised. For the first time, he heard the magician join the Erong. In his opinion, she was simply lured with appearance and cheated. Judging by the costume, Heihachi does not look like a real adventurer. He advised her to leave this amateur team. If the ceiling joins it, it will quickly raise its rank, and it will be the best solution for its future. We must admit that the offer sounded attractive. She even thought for a moment, but then she refused. She is not interesting. She became an adventurer to be with her brother forever. These words were sensed by Heihachi. He was ashamed that he doubted it. The ceiling added, these two are stronger than Dajus. Why go to the weaker? Heihachi felt embarrassment and apologized for everything. Hearing how they humiliate her younger brother, the ceiling felt rage. She hated similar images. Dage decided that she was just joking and suggested a duel. If his team wins, the ceiling will join them. If they lose, they would fulfill any request. The ceiling already wanted to agree, but Heihachi stopped her. He lowered his head and apologized for everything that happened. He asked not to select his comrades. The ceiling did not understand why he was doing it, but Heihachi knew that it could not be put on Kon as a hook. He hoped that she would forgive him for it. Only for the sake of her, for the sake of a dear comrade, he will allow him to humiliate himself. If it's just empty chats, let it be. But being disgraced before the crowd is another. So Heihachi suggested that instead of a duel on the ceiling, put 1,000,000 gil. Dajus thought it was a joke. He could not believe that the E-Rang adventurer owns 1,000,000. But strange, Heihachi did not run. He confirmed that he has this amount. Dajus agreed, will accept the challenge for the sake of honor. And he wanted to tell him something. The news about the duel will be resettled by the city tomorrow. A duel between adventurers is an event that looks like a city like Sting. The ceiling felt guilty, but Heihachi reassured her. You should not worry. He was already overwhelmed by the desire to answer. She did not change her decision. He asked her not to make such a face, otherwise she would ruin her beauty. She called it a little thing, but Heihachi painfully understood how important it is. Noral also noticed what he was sincere. Although he was not angry, it was visible. He boils inside. He has already checked the status. Although he lost the basic characteristics thanks to equipment, had the advantage. And most importantly, he has Noral and Ceiling. They do not lose such comrades. This time they will definitely win. The beginning of the battle. Heihachi was amazed. Thousands of spectators in front of him. He did not understand how to fight under such pressure. They announced a duel between the adventurer Dajus and the Okur Heihachi. Dajus advised, just don't be disgraced, and he will show how big the difference between B- and E-Rang. But suddenly he was hit on his head. One of his team called him an idiot. Everyone knew that he just wanted to spoil life to others. Comrades apologized to Heihachi for the behavior of their leader. The girl became angry with Migaru for his actions. But she acknowledged. All this began through him. It became clear. They are from the Dajus team. He stated that he just wanted to save the ceiling because she was allegedly cheated and suggested that she join. But Kira did not listen to him. She was unfortunate that it all turned into a show. If they win, return the bids. Heihachi realized. They dropped all the conditions of the duel. If they lose, she asked to accept the reward. Heihachi felt that these people do not believe in his victory. But suddenly he noticed a new ring on his finger, which was not there before. The ceiling said that this ring was presented to her by her younger brother. And if it is true, it will always wear it. But this is not what Heihachi meant when he gave it. Hearing this, Daig was sorry. He did not imagine that between them such closeness. Heihachi hurried to explain. This is a misunderstanding. But now Dajus cannot afford to lose. He will take seriously. The ceiling did not understand why he reacts so. Now everyone will think that Heihachi is a pervert who made a proposal to the child. Rumors will also affect her, but she does not mind. On the contrary, it is good to think so. Then he will no longer dare to invite her. Isn't that a happy finale? It looks like the fight is about to start. The Dajus team enters the arena. As expected, Dajus has a lot of fans. In his team, a warrior, a tank, a arc, and a priest. A perfectly balanced composition. Everyone paid attention to its popularity, and indeed, it is attractive. The teams will not fight among themselves, but against the monster, the S rank. Sand in the clock is a timer. The team that wins faster, the duel wins. The ceiling was surprised that there would be no battle, because the clashes between adventurers were forbidden. But the preparation is complete. The battle with Ogrom began. The first was the tank with his powerful shield. The priest supports, and the arc with the warrior is attacked. Team tactics, coherently and tightly. Their sword strikes the enemy. Everything looks serious. But the ceiling was bored without patience to wait. Their group finished the battle. It took a few minutes. The ceiling was sure that they could do it much faster. Dajus proudly stated, "Here's the power of B-Rang. I wonder if they can win at the same speed." One of the audience doubted whether they could win at all, and received another slap for it. The ceiling didn't like it. She once again apologized to Heihachi. And so on the arena the second team, the team of Okura Heihachi. They were not yet popular. They have just arrived in Sting. Heihachi was frightened by the atmosphere in which he had to fight. Everyone was sure that this team loses quickly, like Magina should join Dajus. Heihachi felt that no one believes in their victory here. On the contrary, everyone is waiting for defeat. Because of this, his stomach ached. The girl supported him. But he has a team. They do not lose from Noral and Ceiling. The Ceiling promised to impress everyone. She showed him a ring, and Heihachi began to check the equipment from the hook, preparing for the battle with Dajus. All members of his team had new things. They were ready for battle. It was decided that the Noral would take an attack of OGR, and the Ceiling would strike a decisive blow as soon as it was helped. They immediately moved to the plan, and the unexpected happened. The presenter shouted in surprise. Instead of an attack, Ogre flew into the air. Now, the course of Heihachi. It's time to announce the winner and pass 1,000,000 branches. Seeing how the girls coped, he understood. He didn't even have to interfere. Dajus acknowledged the defeat and passed the bag with winnings. He acknowledged that the girl was right, and apologized for her rudeness. Heihachi sighed with relief. The clash ended with a shake. Dajus suggested having a relationship, but Heihachi felt there was no sincerity in words. Both shook their hands so that it became clear. It was a duel not only on the field. The Ceiling did not understand what was happening, but it seemed that these two were really similar. After a duel with Dajus, Heihachi remained at the level of E, and finally he admitted, he is really too weak. It was difficult for him to fight the monsters. All the fighting still passed without him. Noral believed that he was just lacking in experience. He was an ordinary person, but Heihachi said, it is not just about it. They have not trained for a long time. Noral guessed what was discussed. It was about Gach. Since the Ceiling appeared, he has not used Guha, and because they did not hunt, had only 2 magical stones. In case of danger, this will be their weakness. He looked at the novel. The time has come. The plan was to collect magical stones, but Noral, grabbing the Ceiling, rushed to flee. Heihachi rushed to a danger, but suddenly something stopped the girls. And then the novel was right in front of him. He explained. He provided such a scenario and left the lighthouse. Thanks to this subject, he could move someone from the group to the right place. He proposed to start collecting magical stones. He even activated the strength to hold her back. But the girl rested. She did not want to go through it again. He asked, why does she resist so? And she made her imagine what would happen if they hit a mess without a single stone. It is better to start now than to regret then. As they collect stones, the number will grow, new equipment will appear, so he will be able to strengthen himself. Isn't it a wonderful plan? The ceiling agreed. But Noral was only more indignant with her support. Haichachi put her hand on her shoulder. She looked exhausted. He suggested postpone everything until tomorrow, and he asked the ceiling to sleep Noral. It was too difficult for Narola. Even the ceiling was surprised how frightened the girl was, though she was going to act carefully. To get 25 stones a day, you need to kill only 600 monsters. This was embarrassed by Noral. Therefore, he suggested just talking to her a little. She tried for a long time to apologize from Noila. Hayakachi also regretted that it made her fall asleep, but Noral did not hold the image, and it was angry. She said that Okuridono is guilty of everything, but you were already doing. It remains to collect magical stones. The escape will not work. To calm down, she spoke a little with him. Because he demanded absurd 600 monsters a day, the girl apologized. She wondered how the ceiling managed to persuade Okuridono. And Heihachi was already planning a hike to a new location. They will move today with a magic carpet. The ceiling doubted whether he could handle it, but he was offended. He had a pilot certificate. They were already waiting for a crowd of monsters. All attacked one weapon immediately. It is more effective than fighting with each one. Hunting using mass attacks is a real good. Even rare high-protection monsters do not have a resistance to magic, so the Ailka zone is the perfect choice. One agriculture and drives everyone into a pile, the other is achieved, so the least consumes man. But there is a downside. If the Haikachi and Nolis are aged, it is dangerous because of poisonous scorpions. Ramps will not be able to neutralize the poison, so again, they want to transfer all the work to a Noral. She is in despair. He is a demon. But Heihachi reassured her. No, they would go to another place. Indeed, they left the northern cave and moved on. In the forest, disgusting monsters, Noral refused. The next location is high magical resistance. Refusal. Such effective places as the northern cave were not found. You need to look for something new. But if they find nothing, she will agree to pull the enemies. However, they returned to the north cave. Heikachi asked what changed, because she was against it. But Noral answered is not a coercion. She does not want her selfishness to interfere with others. If you allow Heihachi to do everything alone, he will go back again. So she offered to act together. Okuridono also began to pay attention to her. He agreed to her proposal. In addition, it is nowhere to hurry. As soon as it is tired, it will say right away. Noral wondered, how did the ceiling persuade him? He is too good, creepy. But the ceiling replied, it's a secret. Heikachi mentioned the events and shuddered. Not exactly because of punishment. He was told not to be distracted, to lead. Hunting continued. The 35th magic stone is already on account. Heikachi was worried about whether the novel would stand the bite of the poisoned needle. She reassured, with a new level is getting easier. Indeed, let him better follow those who constantly spend manu. From a long stay in the cave it became gloomy. Heikachi thought, well, go. But suddenly he noticed something extraordinary. Tea festival started. But Heikachi stubbornly called him Carnal Heihachi, so Noral has protruded. It will call another misfortune. And the ceiling only sighed, brother, it seems really chronic. This time he decided to restrain. Only 5 approaches, 11 attempts, but Noral and ceiling, twice. Noral is amazed. Okuridono decided not to no longer. She believes that he grew up. The ceiling is surprised. But Heikachi suggests that 1 attempt is enough to extract the most rare. In a moment he adds, it was a joke. They both tried no less, so let them pull out more. The first pulls Noral, a little uncertain but with hope. He asks why she does not allow him to go first. But last time he pulled up to 11 rare, 10 times in a row. If this time there is a failure, the girls may finally understand it. And here, the exclamation of victory. As expected, it is really lucky. 2 super ripe things for 1 extract. Heichachi is shocked. The next is the ceiling. But for some reason he worries. And she also pulls a super liquid. Heikachi reassures himself. This time, such things are not so rare this time. Both girls already have 2 super rails, but there is still no ultra-liquid ring. Heihachi hoped that he would pull out an ultra. He believed in his luck. Here you will see. I will show what a real hook is. And indeed, a rainbow ultra-liquid chest appeared. Heikachi tried to keep calm, but the novel was sure that he would cut himself as a crazy. The ceiling noticed his suspicious smile. He manifests he heard nothing. Time to open the chest. Inside, Riga Aritra, exclusive weapons for Noral. But she already has such. Hayakachi's facial expression has changed sharply. The girls froze. He said nothing, but his gaze scared. The ceiling asked not to be angry. She did nothing. They both hugged his hands, and they asked, "You promised only 5 attempts, so what does your hand try to do now?" He replied, "Nothing, just let him squeeze." But Heihachi does not seem. The next attempt will definitely bring another ultra. He has to try again. Noral sighed. Once went so far, you will not do anything. He apologizes. He is not able to resist the temptation of the hook. All at the same time press on the screen. And Heihachi gets a holy scaly mantle. He is delighted. The girls recognized. This time his stubbornness really won. That night, everyone slept calmly. Heihachi woke up and saw the ceiling lies nearby. She said she always dreamed of sleeping next to her brother. She became lonely very quickly. She wanted to call Noral, but the girl covered his mouth sharply. She did not like that he was trying to drive her. The guy asked not to stoop it and go back to his bed. She is surprised. Even now he resists? She just wanted to sleep together one night, and he surrendered. When she asks, it is difficult to refuse. Just a dream near. Nothing wrong. And in the morning they find them together. Noral, like her mother, she grabbed the ceiling and snapped her. She said she would not disappear anymore. The ceiling liked to be in the arms, but it was upset. Just started the most interesting. Today is the day off. After continuous hunting, Heihachi decided to pause. Noral was glad, but did not know what to do with this day. The ceiling offered to go shopping together. This is the perfect opportunity. Heihachi gave them a bag of 5 gold coins, 500,000 branches. The girls have expanded. If it is not enough, it will give it, but asks not to waste. He will not go. He is doing. The ceiling was immediately interested. What are these cases? He mentioned the meeting with Dias. Both were surprised. He goes to that self-righteous Cham? But Heihachi explained that the materials from the pity they hunted are very popular with adventurers. He wants to establish official sales. In the meantime, the girls decided to just walk the city. But as it turned out, Noral had no clear plans. The ceiling was surprised. It was so cheerfully running forward. And suddenly, she suggested going to this store. Noral said she had enough clothes. But the ceiling noticed. All her wardrobe is too simple. And her brother still does not see a girl in her, apparently, because she dresses. These words were slightly affected by Noral. In the store, the saleswoman immediately changed her facial expression, seeing the girls, and welcomed them. The ceiling has suggested it is through strange clothing of a Noral. But the girl herself did not understand what was wrong, and the ceiling could not tolerate her mask. She decided, today reincarnation, they will pick up a new style for Noral. But when the ceiling was sharply opened the best, Noral was frightened. She felt uncomfortable, but the ceiling believed. It looked at her. It is better for you to remove this mask, the ceiling said. But Noral wanted to dress alone. Then the ceiling suggested that at least a little lift it. She never saw her face. He wants at least once. Only the two of them here. And the novel, hesitant, agreed. She first opened her face, and the ceiling was stunned. It did not expect it. Suddenly fell silent. The ceiling praised. Clothes are very much, and in general Noral is surprisingly good. Noral intonation has changed. She asked, did she see her brother without a mask? The ceiling answered, yes, only once. But it seems he didn't say anything. Apparently he was surprised. Noral thought so too. Then she cried, and he comforted her, so she did not see his look. However, after that he communicated with her as warmth, and it really pleased her. But then the ceiling noticed something is wrong with her. Indeed, Noral is already used to talking openly. Now it is easy for her to be near the ceiling, but it was worth talking about a walk without a mask, as she immediately grabbed her and hid her face. So she is calmer, and yet she wore her again. The ceiling suggested that at least you cannot wear it. But suddenly she noticed something else. Noral seems to lead her to the next store, to the place from which the extremely sweet aroma stretched. So they got to a sweet shop. Noral could not resist. The eyes lit up like a baby. The ceiling thought, without a mask she is so sweet. Just a real whole, living, emotional, charming. Meanwhile Dias wondered, how does Heihachi carry so many heavy bags? He did not know that he had a magic bag. It was his group who destroyed the Deus team, methodically destroying the Holonauns. And this is just an E-rang. The news quickly flew the whole guild. The association decided the time of increase, not because of problems, but because of their extraordinary efficiency. The head of the guild said, such a group cannot stay in a lower rank. Heihachi suspected that it would turn into trouble. The girls did not deny. Noral agreed, not to again in the North Cave. They confirmed their readiness and received an official task. To enter the dungeon requires C-Rag. Heihachi suggested raising the rank. Noral even forgot that the dungeons existed. First rise to D-Rong, and the first task is to destroy the jubiluses. As soon as they went into the mud, how the mucus suddenly came out of the mucus. But Noral said that he was sweet. Heihachi grabbed her head. She dreams again. Noral assured, no, this time she does not fantasize. Even the ceiling acknowledged, the frogs are really charming. But the Heihachi was not delighted. He hesitated how to act. In the swamp, he did not want to climb absolutely. Noral suggested freezing the monster, and Heihachi explained, then others would stop appearing. He asked the ceiling to destroy the mud. It did not hesitate. The magical flames flew, and all the mire shuddered from the blow. "Oh, this spell is just incredible!" the girl exclaimed. She is delighted with the result, but suddenly she was doubted. Would she not fly for such a mess? Everything around was reminiscent of the end of the world, and it was then that the monster came out of the mire. He was even more disgusting than Heihachi imagined himself. Noral lost interest immediately. She already wanted to repeat the blow, but the guy stopped. The swamp can disappear completely. She changed tactics and aimed at the enemy. However, the attack did not hit. He cleverly evaded. Her patience broke up. It is impossible to hit until he jumps back and forth. The boys realized. The enemy simply does not want to die. It would be easier to blow up the whole pond, but Heihachi asked to wait. He has a plan. The ceiling supported. Come on, brother, put him on my behalf. Meanwhile, the swamp baptism released the stench, taking everyone out of the mind. But he did not have time. He was noticed. The ceiling was decisive. It would not allow him to escape after such bullying. It was she who made the final blow. Won, and as for the usual D-joint quest, it was a real war. She confidently suggested to accomplish the sea tasks even faster. The next day, they already went to the ruins. The mission is to destroy 10 Minovara. This is the 5th. With each battle, the boys became stronger. Noral believed that everything would go quickly. Inspectorate is light targets. The 6th has already fallen. But suddenly a stranger appeared, a chunky and dangerous. The guy shuddered. What does it do in the C-Rang area? His attack has caused more than 3,000 damage. Heihachi did not even want to hear about the fight. He ordered everyone to retreat. But Noral decided otherwise. We'll leave the monster to herself. She ordered the ceiling to flee immediately. If the enemy switches to her, there will be trouble. In her eyes, anger. Heihachi rushed to the attack without thinking. Noral with a shield drops the enemy to the ground. She saved him and checked the condition. It's all right, he assured. He just did not recognize the enemy. Noral guessed, the matter in those sparks. They disappear when he beats. She announced to distract the enemy until someone causes a decisive blow. And here the monster weakened. The time has come. Heihachi activates an explosive token of hook, and a real explosion destroys the enemy. A series of powerful explosions covered the monster. It seemed like a victory. Heihachi was happy. Everything worked. But at the same moment he got a blow from the rear. He did not have time to evade. Noral was scared of him, but could not leave Estelle without protection. She ordered her friend to leave. The magician would not be able to shoot if she is nearby. Estelle rushed to Heihachi, concerned about his condition. He assured, all is well. He drank the potion, got up and asked that with the monster. Noral just showed her hand. The ceiling struck on it magic that was stunning, as if pure rage. The face is cold void. The aura is red and pulsating. The girl seemed to have changed. Heihachi shuddered. She really used that skill? Magic skill increased its force by 50%, and the protection of the enemy fell. Even a giant such as Asterios would not withstand. After beating the enemy, the ceiling approached Heihachi. Don't make me worry anymore, she whispered softly. And from that moment he decided. Never again merged. Really apologizes. Although maybe the next time you should not be angry enough to smoke the scram immediately. Estelle and Noral seems to have the same drawbacks. Expenditure after the skill is great. So Heihachi went to report and left the girls to relax. On the way, he still visited lights. But opening the door, he frozen. The novel lay on the bed, playing and without a mask. She was scared, screamed. Annoyed, why did you return? And he, on the contrary, asked why without a mask. She replied, even she sometimes wants to remove her. But is he not mind that he saw her true face? Everything thanks to Estelle training. It became a little easier. She asked where the girlfriend, but she felt better and was now in the bathroom. Heihachi asked what the novel herself did. She was enthusiastically looking at the toys they bought. The guy, turning away, suggested more. Let them take them as a reward for courage. But she was confused. His reaction seemed offensive to her. He does not take her seriously. And he thought that those things were just little things. But no, they mean something to her. He does not understand everything she feels, but she thanked her sincerely. At that moment, Noral felt something. Strange. Anxious. It's time. She removed the mask and confessed. She had not felt so happily. But something in it seemed to change. They are preparing for a new adventure. The Hagen Labyrinth is an unusual dungeon with rare treasures and incredible monsters. The group was finally increased to the C rank deservedly. They went on a hike to conquer a mysterious dungeon. Inside it was brighter than Hichachi expected. The walls were breathing in life. The surface of the floor and walls glowed from mana. But they did not have time to look out how the monster appeared. Slime. Hichachi is sure, and it will easily handle. But the mucus rushed at him. Noral warns, you should not relax because of its appearance. It's an acid slim. It corrodes everything around. It is better to stay at a distance. Realizing that the mucus dissolves things, Hikachi introduced the girls. But something was wrong. They suspected. Did he not read the instructions? They learned everything together in the guild, and he just reached an addition to the status. The girl sighed. Hopeless. She added, only the 10th floor will be sluggish. So they went on. A different type of mucus membrane has emerged at a new level. The 9th floor explosive mucus membranes that break down in the slightest motion. Heihachi suggested attacking from afar. They realized that the chain reaction was starting. Legs from there. And from the 10th floor. There should be a serious opponent. But instead of him, they found a strange mechanism with arrow from above. Like a dead end. If the ceiling is not mistaken, here you need to turn the lever to move on. Looks like a switch. Noral with a smile suggested pushing. After activation, the arrow turned. Something worked. The mechanism is similar to roulette. Either a room with monsters or with a valuable object. But nothing happened. Is it a deadlock? Suddenly a strange sound came. The entrance suddenly closed. Mana thickens. All on the head. It seems not just a door. It is a transition to a new floor. It looks as if they were returned to the beginning. If mistaken, you have to go again. Heihachi decided to try again. The team moved again by a familiar way. They have been mistaken dozens of times. Fatigue is growing. They have returned here at least 40 times. Heihachi advises, you should not give up and look forward. The doors are decorated differently, that's for sure. Finally, the boss hall. It was not easy to get here. Estelle prepares the most powerful magic. This time they will overcome it. But Heihachi noticed, the mucus here is much stronger. On the recommendation, this level requires at least 2 participants of rank B. Estelle proposed to decide, to fight or retreat, after reviewing the status of the enemy. Opening the door, they saw a giant monster. Its characteristics exceeded even Asterios. And their strength and so almost did not remain. Heihachi believes that it is better to retreat. They are exploring the dungeons, not die in it. The girls agree. The main thing is to return alive. However, Gajeno's maze was more complicated than it seemed. Heihachi understands. There is no retreat. We need to look for a way out. Noral guesses. He thinks again about Guha. He himself does not know another way. Estelle jokes, they say, you will rarely see such a small one that is not interested in the hook. But Heihachi replies, he is a fan. Just, their equipment is wonderful, but lacking a new team member. They need someone who can treat at a distance. Priest. And this is a problem. To count on a hook, it is like pulling a turtle. A chance is scanty. If not lucky, there will be a real hell. In this case, Heihachi decides, when the event starts, he will pull out everything he has. He is waiting for it. Estelle reacts instantly, but he warns, if they choose this path, you will have to face something more scary than a magic stone. The real marathon of Gachi. By the beginning of the event, no extract. He decided to return. It caused dissatisfaction. He has a request to Noral. He wants to train. It surprised her. When she said Estelle, that Okuradono again she behaved, she just sighed. Again, something was hit in his head. And the guy himself heard everything. He does not understand what is wrong with him. The novel asks to teach him to fight. He wants to become stronger, at least a little. He always relied on girls, even when collecting magical stones. Now he wants to help them. She praised him for the initiative but confessed she never trained anyone. But she agreed to start with the basics. Today they will be set out in full. The place for training seemed to be creepy. But Noral thinks, perfect. It is the den of the Eagle Warriors. The monsters with whom he had problems. He should fight them. And the girls will watch and indicate the weaknesses. The only condition is no equipment except the sword and the shield. He even had to remove the holy cloak. It was scared. He felt lonely, did not know where to start. It turned out that he would have to go one-on-one against the boss, an eagle warrior. Shocked, because I thought there would be a normal sparring. But Noral decided, it is better to fight immediately. They called the monster, and the girls cheered the guy. The eagle immediately attacked, demonstrating its unique abilities. He felt severe pain. One eye was damaged, and the leg was cut. He asked what Noral was thinking about his progress. Thank you for your view. The guy was barely standing, but the girl decided, the time of the second round. He did not know that there would be a continuation. Noral gathered the mistakes she noticed. Now they need to be corrected in the next battle. She indicated that his viewing angle is too narrow. It is necessary to follow not only for weapons, but for the whole body of the enemy. Its protection is too weak. It is impossible to simply wave the sword. It will not work random. In silence, the guy thought that he may not turn to that person. But the girls noticed. He is already blocking the strokes. If it continues, it will become strong. The prospect of daily training was frightened. Noral explained that there will be no result without regularity. She supported him, so she asked, let her try hard. The guy promised to put on the full, and then he saw strange traces. Someone attacked someone. It turned out, a cruelly wounded defenseless rabbit. The attackers were immediately neutralized. They were beheaded in an instant. Save the animal, Heihachi quarreled the Noral. It was impossible to act independently, but she apologized. Her body was rushed forward when she saw the baby. The baby was badly injured. She really wanted to save him. Heihachi appreciated the wound. Deep. Gave her an expensive potion from Gachi. Noral decided to make sure that it could be used. The guy understood. The injuries are serious. She assured that she would do nothing wrong. Indeed, the potion was immediately. True magic from Gachi. The girl was happy. Wished the rabbit to be careful on her way. However, he remained side by side. Estelle immediately noticed. He was attached to her. The guy wanted to give up. He just looked at the eye. He explained that they live in the hotel. They cannot keep animals. But the girl did not give up. She took the rabbit in her arms and stretched him. Look more closely. His sweet look broke the will of even Heihachi, and so the team has a new satellite. Meanwhile, a big event is getting closer that is waiting for the Heihachi group. Estelle is enjoying the new pet society. Noral noticed how much she tied to him, and thought it looked very cute. The rabbit was called Moffat. It turned out to be a mascot for good luck. They say to see him at least once, and you will be accompanied by happiness. Estelle joked that the carnival should be opened. Finally, the campaign, which was waiting for 33 hook tunes on TESSR. The main prize is a priest who was waiting for so long. Estelle thought that the brother did not like the banner. But on the contrary, Heihachi is delighted. If he knew that there would be an opportunity, he would have collected more magical stones. Noral realized why he was so depressed. They decided to start. Everyone will be able to make 2 attempts. They have 902 stones. It will be enough for all 33 calls. 1 roar is 3 times more expensive than 11 at once. Heihachi's words alerted Noral, but Estelle decided to make the first to try. She impressed everyone with her excitement. This time she is on the front line. Thanks to her, they got a lot of things. 33 attempts are a completely different level of tension. When no ultra idiom falls out, it is a real torment. But they manage. The long-awaited priest falls. Although she regretted what she had spent, the guy assured. He respects her determination. The frost goes on the skin, just not clear it is from excitement or fear. Noral noticed that the opaque was somehow strange. Maximum rarity is a super Ryode. Despite the failure, Heihachi tried to reassure everyone. But Noral understands. He is most nervous. Half attempts are still ahead. The chance to get a rare object remains. Why don't you take the risk? He is too self-assured, believes that he will just be lucky. And here, he pulls out, finally. Without exaggeration, victory! After that he even sang. But Noral pulls another copy of the weapon Estelle. The Okuri stopped breathing from shock. He was reanimated quickly. A little electricity turned his breath. It turned out that he had another copy and 2 attempts left. Everyone hopes for the luck of a Noral. She was alarmed as everyone is watching her carefully. Like others, she pulled a whole bunch of objects. The guy calms himself. There is another attempt. Noral noticed how it hides fatigue through a smile. Even with the incredible luck, Noral, they were not lucky. Heihachi was already afraid that the chance would be waste. If he had a loan card? Noral joked, "Can you try to give a chance to Moffat?" Estelle, doubt, "Is it allowed at all?" Heihachi waved his hand. "It is indifferent, why not?" The rabbit, as if understanding everything, looked depressed. But Estelle believed in a mascot. Moffat will definitely bring good luck. And here the fluffy touched the paw to the screen. The real miracle. They pulled out the priest of Shizuka Alvi. Moffat really brings good luck. Heihachi, though glad, was still worried. He was one. A rabbit. He did not understand that with him. Did he suffocate with happiness? Without the help of Rabbit, they would not succeed. The next day came the long-awaited moment. The priest officially had to join their team. It happened earlier than expected. And all thanks to Moffat, which annoyed Heihachi a little. But he acknowledged nothing would happen without a rabbit. Now they were looking forward to her call. Noral realized she was once called the same. Heihachi confessed that in his world he never fell out this priestess. It is very popular, and the very thought of meeting her frightened him. Finally a call came. She called herself and said that the council to meet the owner. When he saw her, he frozen. Squeezing himself into a fist, he introduced himself with a proud look. Noral noticed he did not respond with them. But Heihachi said he is lying. Estelle did not like this behavior. The priest was even better than expected. He could not take a look away from her breasts. The priestess was a little discord, and Estelle began to be annoyed. But suddenly she asked what he frowned. After the pause, the guy lied. They say he admired her pendant. Noral seemed suspicious. He finally mastered himself and apologized to not introduce himself. Everyone was introduced, including Moffat. He did not stay in front of the magic muzzle, but she was too sweet to resist. He called it Alvi-san and politely asked for permission to look at the profile. The girl realized that she was impolite and said goodbye. She introduced herself as Shizuka, and the guy instead suggested to call him an I. I was upset as they decided to turn to each other. She looked into her profile and realized she was completely ready for battle. This news overwhelmed her joy. Finally, everything moved. They have holy prayer, which expands the healing area and treats several allies at the same time. This force balances the team, and Heichi sees it quite clearly, but her breasts are the same as in his fantasies. Not a little thing. At first he was frightened, deciding that evil was heading to him, but she went to Sisa. He suspected that the priestess was hiding something. She was awkward, so she seemed to not understand what she was talking about. But in fact, she had nothing to hide. After all, she was summoned. Norla agreed that it is wrong to suspect her without reason. In the end, they admitted that Sisa was right and apologized to her. She looked at her brother, so thoughtful that she did not trust herself unconsciously. The priestess assured that everything is fine. She noticed that this Estelle is completely different. Nothing suspicious came from her. She has a golden heart. It is easy to communicate with it. She counts on Shisako. Noral assured that he would be taught full, asked to take care of her. Stella realized that she would sleep together now. But he decided to lie on the floor. Sisa could not afford it when others were sleeping on the bed. Called him to herself. Again, there was a problem with housing after the sewing. Heihachi wanted to remove another room, but the rest decided to live together, so I had to take a room for 4. He noted that men and women to sleep in one bed are not the best idea. Asked her to think rationally. Noral threatened to pinch her for the cheek. Estelle temporarily abandoned the idea of a joint sleep. But in exchange, he had to say who he would choose if he had to sleep with someone alone. She decided that she had no chance because she joined only today. He asked if you could refrain from answering. Estelle strictly stated, no. He was confused. He didn't know how to answer so that he did not offend anyone. After reflection, he chose Noral, because among all she was the least feminine. And it was a good angry. The next day, Sisa apologized to the Eye. Because of this, they had to wander the capital. He asked not to worry. The guide remembered that there would be another hook event soon. They agreed. The day to strengthen friendship will be wonderful. Noral suggested just to enjoy. Heihachi regretted that he could not pick up something more every day. She asked not to worry. The girls could give her something, but Noral doubted her clothes. First you need to buy something for Shusuke. The priest felt awkward. Heihachi said that you can afford everything today. And Norla had already dreamed of a bunch of food. Everyone was surprised what she was suddenly about food. During the shopping, everyone spent a great time together, as if forgetting about fatigue. She is tired of thinking about how much Mafi gets. Rumors, as if from one glance became better, were true. And indeed, this happy rabbit is an incredible creature. Nearby, the guy broke up and fell. She instantly ran and healed his wounds. The guy immediately started to feel better. Everyone was enthusiastically looked at the priesthood abilities. She advised to be careful, and the boy thanked her sincerely. This was expected from the priestess. Heihachi added that Shizuka is a really good person. It is time for lunch. Noral announced that today they would eat. Shizuka thanked the opaque for this day. She was more than enough. She was happy, and Heihachi, embarrassed by her confession. The idea, by the way, belonged to Estelle. He remembered that when Estelle was summoned, there was no celebration. It seems to him that she just cares about Shizuka. So you should thank her. The girl could misunderstood everything, but thanked the opaque too. He was convinced that Shizuka was a real priestess. Earlier she thought she had suspicious. But now he was sure it was only his imagination. Suwar is a good person, and Heihachi does not believe that she is hiding something. They noticed the crowd that gathered nearby, and the girls went to see. Everyone was invited to become participants in the competition against a silky man. One test cost 5,000 branches, and the winner received 100,000. Fighting on the hand. Estelle suggested that Heihachi to try, but he decisively refused. No matter how cool, he cannot overcome such a strong man. Then Sisao decided to take a chance. The guy asked if she was sure, but she confessed. Her forces have little, because she is a priestess. I worried if everything would be fine. Heihachi hoped that she would not exaggerate, as Noral often did. That she did not like it. The man was happy. Today he is happy, and his hand will be shaken. She asked not to be too rigid with her. Her face tensed, while others did not even have time to understand what had happened. Everyone wondered, what about this girl is wrong? And suddenly, victory! She was stunned by all the audience. She was pleased with the winning, and because she was easily. Heihachi was shocked. She is much stronger than him. Perhaps this was suspected of Estelle. Their new task is to destroy 10 stone goblins. 6 could not wait for the first quest, and everyone offered to finish it faster to raise the rank. He should get used to this armor. Estelle advised Faudi to remove her helmet. It would be more convenient. He got it from the last cacho, and decided to try. The same looks? The girls agreed that he was different in the crowd. Although it narrows the inspection, it increases protection. Therefore, the role of the tank gave him, even if it is just goblins, it is better to be alert. The first in the battle was he who was hesitant. Without hesitation. The goblins were beaten, but they did not even hope that the armor would be so strong. He allowed Kabul to attack. Not yet used to fight in practice, and Noral agreed. Let him have good defense. To avoid blows is still worth it. I decided that once 10 goblins were killed, you could return. But Noral stopped him and pointed out. Look back. Suddenly, a rare species of goblins appeared around. If they kill them, magical stones will receive. He ordered the girls, not to leave anyone, to destroy everyone until the last. He wanted to protect Shizuka, but in a moment he got a blow from the monster. He fell to the ground, seeing nothing in front of him. He was most afraid that Shizuka was in danger. He asked if she was whole. Noral saw that on their part everything was over. Heihachi thought that others had won, but Noral did not understand him. Shizuka raised the rank and he continued his way to the tank. A few days have passed. The next goal is hunters, and again, special training. She was waiting for a new battle. The guy noticed she liked to fight. She is quietly confessing. She likes to kill. He proposed first to destroy the soldiers' organs to appear their leaders. Shizuka also wanted to fight with simple warriors with his eye, what he did not expect. To become a tank, she wants to learn how to fight in a crowd of enemies, in conditions of real pressure. For her, this is the way to the tank. Heihachi still did not understand how it happened. He wants to protect Sisu. He is ashamed but is no longer eligible for a mistake. If he lets down again, who knows what happens to her. It is impossible to bear such a fragile girl to danger. He has to do everything to protect it. He asks for a 6. Let him use it as a shield during a battle. She decided to express her thoughts about the fighting. Now she would not stop her. All he needs is to watch the opponent's movements. He has time to respond, but has not yet learned to anticipate their actions. For example, when the monster shatters to the right, he must shift to the left before he jumps. If the guy learns to read the movements, he will be able to predict the next step. She understands that this will not be possible. Therefore, Shizuka reminded you should be training constantly. He has good movements, so there is a chance. The priest promised to put on the full. They have already killed one of the eagle leaders. Heihachi activated Divine Speed. This technique covers the body with a red glow and triples speed. But now the enemy has become extremely fast. Someone tried to reassure Heihachi. His rival had the same basic movements as the usual warrior. It will all depend on how well it captures the movements of the enemy. And he succeeded. The enemy was defeated. Noral could not believe that he had hit an enemy who was moving at such a frantic speed. Everyone noticed. Skills have increased incredibly quickly. Apparently he has a real talent. Heihachi explained. Everything is due to one advice of the Shizuka. Some even doubted whether she was really a priestess. Shizuka confirmed awkwardly. Estelle noted that she was teaching better than Noral, and it affected the last. She suggested that he find the next leader of the Eagles, and promised to teach him without leisure. Heihachi was dissatisfied, all because of the extra words of Estelle. So, in Hikach, there is a new set of equipment. Hunting in the forest of soldiers' organs began to seem monotonous, but everyone understood. This is the perfect place for training. Someone suggested hunting for Asterios. For the sake of the chain, he became awkward because of his sharpness. Noral explained, this is not the type of monster that should be exchanged. However, everyone agreed. He was already accustomed to fighting with eagles. It's time to meet a truly strong monster. Shizuka supported the opinion, but stressed. It is not necessary to choose Asterios. She asked the eye not to strain. If something goes wrong, she will be able to heal it in a moment. Even if he lost his limbs, as long as he is alive, she will turn it. But Heihachi could not be certain. He was afraid of a future battle with such a monster. Noral supported him. It's time to overcome fear. So he undertook to prepare the equipment. Sekyu should also be ready for emergency situations. He was going to activate the lion's heart to reduce the likelihood of panic. And here, revenge. He timidly announced the beginning, but it was evident that not everything is smooth. Noral wished them good luck. In the event of danger, will come to the rescue. Heikachi knew. It was necessary to beware the danger. Everyone decided to act together. Shizuka said they would do their best. It was extremely difficult for him to restrain the enemy, but the monster eventually fell, and Heihachi hit full force. Thanks to special training, he miraculously managed to evade the attack. The battle with Delight was watching all around. It seemed that everything was going great, but he was wrong. At the decisive moment, Shizuka managed to protect Heihachi from a deadly blow, but she did not stop there. The girl got a monster. She is a good and gentle priestess that heals everyone he meets. But every time he mentioned Heihachi, he did not notice anything, because Shizuya is far from ordinary priestess. After the final victory, she said with a smile that it was a little bit. She asked how Heihachi felt and apologized. She did not want to interfere with his workout, so she was holding back all the time. But when she saw how she was fighting, she could not restrain her. The body went into battle. Somehow Aqua Steel told him, Shizuko is hiding something. And now he understood. That was his fault. The priestess wanted to ask something, but he was afraid that she would say it as if it were quite different. It seems that she is not hidden now. She wanted to kill the two. After a hearty dinner, Noral spit on the bed. Heihachi noted that if you lie down after eating, you can turn into a cow. The girl just waved, indifferent. She is one of those who eat as much as he wants and does not smooth. Estelle was jealous of her and the guy just called her. It has passed a lot of time after the battle with Asterios. Since then, Heihachi has continued specialization, collecting magical stones. During this time, Shizuka rose to the rank of S. She apologized for the delay and treated everyone with tea. They noted that she is very caring. Heihachi agreed. Gentle and good. But why in battle is she so different? They asked about plans for today. Heihachi replied that after successful joining the priestess to the team, he decided to continue to twist Guya. I mentioned in surprise that he had completely forgotten. But no. It is impossible for him to forget about Guha. He said it with complete confidence. Just received the notification, premium ticket. It is slightly different from the usual. Everything is simple. After 11 scrolling in a row, the player receives a free ticket with a SSR character or something like that. It was embarrassed that it was free. Heihachi suggested reflecting everything after rotation, but she denied, to think after. It is too late. Like, it is better to do and regret not to do and regret later. But Noral did not think so. They saw the real face of the eye. Noral noted that it was quite normal. The priestess was surprised by his energy. Noral also struck her reaction. After all she saw, they enthusiastically engaged in the case. As it should be expected, immediately knocked out SSR was visible at first sight. She only guessed how Gacha works, but so much happened immediately. She understands what he sees this for the first time. Twilighting Guha was fascinating. Noral was scared that she should not be interested in this, but Heihachi knew. This is not the end. He still had a premium ticket. Red chests appeared in front of them. She was not happy, and it affected the girl. The twin caused a strong anxiety. He did not understand what to do with it. Both versions of Noral stared at the toys. They communicated surprisingly easy. They understood each other from half a word. It was visible. They get along perfectly. It would be even strange if it was different. And here, from under the toys, the moth came out. One of the girls called the rabbit to herself. And all again. They could not decide who the moth would be with. One of them suggested to calm down, but in the end everything turned into a quarrel. He tried to stop the girls, but the real chaos had already prevailed. Everyone wondered what he conceived, and the guy was uncomfortable to deny it. They asked that he would decide. After all, with another novel, their power will grow, but she wants him to decide what will be the best, even if she asks him. She is the first one he called in this world and was around this time. There is a novel that he knows from the beginning, and the one that has to be called. Both will not work equally. Yes, it will add strength, but he acknowledged that there was only one Noral. So frankly, he doesn't want to do it. Others noticed that it was almost like a confession. Sek saw a good relationship between them. He became awkward. He said he would not be happy if another he had appeared. Estelle admitted that there is something in this. On the screen of the phone which Shizuka took, a message appeared. It is impossible to call two identical characters. Everyone sighed with relief. If they knew it from the beginning, she was very scared. Heihachi understood. You can enhance it in another way. Although she had a bad premonition, if she made her stronger, she agrees. The process of merging with the girl's body began. No one understood what was happening. The girl felt tingling all over the body. I couldn't stop. He asked her to let go. But she stated that the body is ready for battle. She goes hunting immediately. Her enthusiasm was off the chart. Heihachi could not quench her. Estelle said she liked such a strengthening, and Shizuka wondered where to hunt. Today it was surprisingly crowded. Someone was surprised that they came today. It was a Juice's team that they had not seen for a long time. The first thing he said was that Estelle is still here, and the same sweetheart. The girl tried to remember his name. He realized that they dislike him, and out of their own fault. So he switched attention to the girl from their team. He asked her to introduce. He was glad. She also greeted, and he enthusiastically replied that he was pleased. She did not like his greedy look. The guy explained that she just admired her beauty. It just angered her even more. He did not cease to look. Other members of his team, Sumika and Gauss, also introduced themselves. One of them, without seeing Heihachi, thought he was not present today. After what he said, the guy put his hand on his shoulder. Everyone decided it was their new ally. But it was clearly strange. This did not seem acceptable. No one expected to see him in such an outfit, and only then they realized. Heihachi decided to become a tank. A good idea, of course, but isn't it dangerous to walk so much? Heihachi himself did not see the problem. He was explained. If he wandered the city, it would not be surprising if it was worth throwing him for the lattice. Heihachi did not expect everything so serious. Others were also against. I even had to remove the helmet. Migir thought that Estelle was incredibly sweet. It was nice to hear it, but she suggested that he stop hugging, although the girl was not going to stop. Suddenly, she asked Heihachi if he knew what the duties of the tank. He admitted uncertainly. Probably, you need to endure pain. And I realized there is no idea what the tank is doing. So they decided to explain what it means to be a tank. They started with the basics. Who is it? He was interested in what was going on there. Jesus apologized. He always reacts so much when it comes to tanks. It seems to be discussing something interesting. She would like to talk to him if a chance is. The novel laughed. Called it funny. The administrator noticed that everyone had already arrived. I decided that everyone was busy. She asked if someone needed something. Awarded an important task. Some regions began to show signs of great destruction. To prevent this, she asks to neutralize monsters. One of the girls wondered what a great destruction was. Deus was surprised that she had not heard about it. There are two types. The first is the appearance of too strong monster. The second is a massive invasion of creatures, capable of causing large-scale harm. The goal is to destroy a group of monsters in the area where stone goblins usually appear. It is recommended that you send the rank B. She asked Juices, and take this mission. The eye was surprised by the complexity of the task, if two groups were involved. The girl reminded of recent monster anomalies. For example, in the area where the Okura defeated Asterios. Recently, creatures that should not be there at all have appeared. It turns out that something similar has already happened. This was warned by the leader of the guild. She asked to be careful. Juices agreed and asked the opinion of the eye. He decided they will also take part. Migir did not believe that she would be able to fulfill the mission in one team with Estelle. She was sure that luck is on her side today. She was asked not to overstretch. Migir was ready to defend Estelle. I didn't think that even a walk would be so exhausting, but she liked it. Emma heard of Gauss's experience. I would like to talk to him. She asked what the most powerful attack he happened to him. Starting to talk about his work, Gauss seemed to come to life. Migir rejoiced that she could meet them and show her strength. Yuri was the first to produce a ball. Immediately destroyed 3 enemies with one blow. No one expected this result. She replied that she just beat as usual, did not think that those monsters would explode. Everyone wondered what happened. Heihachi noted that they did not explode before. It seems that the team began to recognize them with their own. Estelle suggested, they may have received some strengthening. They have already forgotten about it. And recently he tried to change the title. Who would have thought it was possible? Heihachi chose a secretary general because he gives the best buffs. Outwardly, it also works for the dice group. It could work. Noral realized, he thought again. And if Heihachi guesses, Juices with the team also hunt for rare monsters, and therefore will receive even more magical stones. The more people in the team, the more stones. Estelle noted that he was quickly oriented when needed. Shizuka supported. The idea is wonderful. Others have joined the conversation. They explained that they had just discussed what allies strong were. He could no longer wait for a joint mission. Juices replied that they were delighted with this cooperation. In a few days they arrived in place. It was shocked. They will have to destroy them all. If there are so many monsters, then the leader had to appear. They explained that when a group of monsters reaches a level of large destruction, almost always the main one appears among them. He is called the leader of the pack. They understood that you just have to defeat it. But Juices added, given the potential destruction, they cannot be ignored. Decide, we need to destroy them with one powerful blow. One of the girls was already preparing to produce enemies with magic. Heihachi stopped her. He asked not to waste magic in vain and gave the request further. He offered to look on the left. Among the goblins you can see the giant in red. They are definitely rare. He wants to make sure that the stones will fall out of the enemies of Juices and others. Suddenly he felt a powerful surge of energy. It was the supporting magic of Estelle. Higor overdone. Even Estelle was surprised by her reaction. Heihachi informed Juices that they were from Noral, in the vanguard, and Higor with the rest, support from the rear. He told the girls not to overload. He was counting on them. The plan was implemented. They realized that Estelle's support was really something special. It looked as if it would be the simplest task. Their team was insanely strong, on the verge of madness. After the last battle, he knew that Noral was strong, but Juices did not imagine how much. He became embarrassed. Dell noticed that she had not yet been able to open. He reminded him that the battle was still ongoing. The number of stones obtained did not coincide. There was probably some condition. They called the eye to show something. Among the crowd of monsters was especially distinguished by Lord Goblin. Opponents have become 10 times more, and it seems to be another leader. They understood. To fight at once with two groups is pointless. Need to retreat. To decide the opaque, to stay or retreat. If they fight further, most work will lie on their shoulders. So far, the priestess has not gained any magical stone. In addition, if they retreat, the nearby villages may be at risk. They have never encountered such a numerous group. Juices and others were tired. The guy didn't know what to do next. He thought it was all. Noral doubted whether they would cope. For a long time, Estelle did not apply magic to the full, and the Sisa was quietly put, just did what he needed. Heihachi decided to fight. They will start with the explosive magic of the Sisu, and when the enemies become less, they will go on the offensive. He asked the girl to stand up today. His team had to follow them. She also wanted to join the Sisa, but Hachi decided that she would stay behind and treat allies. The plan was to use explosive magic. Seeing this, Juices was even surprised. The monster attacked him from behind. Everyone told him to move away and cover the rear. Lord also entered the battle, threw a spear from the enemy. They noticed that they had gone too far. The guy was glad that she was worried, but everything was under control. She asked him to be careful. Heihachi could not resist. The explosion was too powerful. It was thrown into the air. The landing will definitely not be soft. He didn't want to fall. The rest noticed that she was flying. Migir decided that he had to help. Delphot also had to do it. Oral took over the rescue of the leader, which is why she was worried. She said to hold on. They will continue the battle and flight. He didn't understand how she flies so high. Stella explained, "This is a special skill. If the novel is so impressed, it is a signal about the close end. Aura, which 3 times increases all characteristics by 10 minutes. This new skill was gained by Valkyria Neuralphania after 2 raises in Gachi. They were fighting well, flying. He returned to him. It seemed as if something went wrong, even after all that. They talked about what will happen after the skills. The guy answered, now his turn to carry it. Everyone was stunned and he joined them. They watched as Sisu gracefully fights the monster. There is no hope, isn't it? She was awarded for the excellent conquest of the enemy. In total, 40 million branches. She couldn't believe that they were really The administrator added that there is also a proof of the conquest of Lord Goblin, so the amount is quite reasonable. Even after separation with the Tao's team, they remain 20 million branches. Crazy money. Noral believes that Kurasugai deserves everything, but Hichachi insists, rightly in half. Jusis denies. Without their help, nothing would work. They are only a burden, so they do not seem a full part. Shizuka laughs. If they are a burden, then who then Kaikachi, whom the spear dropped? Without his armor magic, Estelle would not work. Together. Power. So Hayakachi is asked to take half and instead stay with them for a short time. The guy agrees to touch the gold and live with them for a while. The team arranges a loud celebration of victory. Estelle jokes that Noral does not go from a sense of guilt. And the hungry wolf. Jusis allows you to eat how much the soul desires. He is in the big debt to Noral-san for salvation, so the all-you-can-eat officially allows. The girl only shrugs her shoulders. It is indifferent. She does not count the calories for a long time. Meanwhile, Shizuka comes to the eye. Do you drink a glass with me? It is 30-year-old wine. The taste is divine. He waits, they say, weak to alcohol. She insists and calling him sweet pours more. He sneaks from behind and hugs. Heihachi is embarrassed when her breasts touch his back. Jusis sees nothing strange, but the rest has time to sweep it. Migir murmur whether she should become a priestess, like a 6. Both strength and breasts. Gauss has a hurry to calm his girlfriend. Noral notes that the eye is already red and distracts Shizuka. Look there. The solo nostalgic look of that guy caused a sudden flash of jealousy. She quickly bounced and apologized for excessive arms. Thanked Noral. But she noted that he had not eaten anything yet, and this is a wonderful opportunity. Feed it yourself. Haikachi tastes and admits, truly delicious. Noral immediately pulls a plate to Migir. There is a lot of juicy meat here. She rushed to the meat instantly, and the evening flashed at a warm company. The score amounted to 1,150,000 branches. Noral's stomach, as expected, stuffed. Heihachi wanted to pay half, but Jusis reminded that he was rude to the first meeting. So he was a real man this year, and pays everything. Heikachi called it the hero's act. Shizuka realized, it's time to say goodbye. But this is definitely not the end of their adventures. I would still have done with joy, Estelle-chan. Shizuka laughed. Estelle jokingly waved. I am already looking. They have not been happy to talk so sincerely, so they agreed to meet again. Shizuka happily agreed, and the bag promised to train hard to become so cool. It is time to disperse. Jusis thanked for today. Without Perch and company, everything could turn into a real catastrophe. If something happens, let's know immediately, he asked. And feel free to rely on us. We can help. Hayakachi confessed that he did not expect to have so much fun after performing his small share. Noral, swaying, leaned against him. The guy was surprised that she was still walking, but the girl was treated with her own magic. You know, drunk is not so bad, she smiled. Haikachi noted that medical magic is truly lively spell, and the conversation slipped into alcohol. Estelle suggested Shizuka. Did you suffer with your brother before? The priestess was squeezed, convincing that there was nothing like that. Noral suggested talking until it was mentioned, until the morning. Shizuka escaped, referring to treacherous alcohol. When the girls broke up, the eye dived again into their phone. He saw a message about great consideration, an award for achievements. Those who completed the mission received 2 bonuses at once. The lottery returned, he exclaimed. He got 50 magical stones and a spark discount. But the discount is only 1 stone, so the difference is small, he explained upset. And for whom are you good to drain, Estelle, Noral? Greedy. He honestly replied that he would not lie now. The guy was surprised. It turns out that the prey is outside the lottery. And other events, even mazes. On what principles does this system work? Will you turn full? Estelle became interested. He mentioned the Heihachi festival and laughed to tell the rest. This time, only 1 twist for each. All are surprised. Are there any carnival spam? Estelle does not believe that Heihachi will be limited to 1 together. He explains, now the conscription is subject, and the value of SSR moments has not increased, so the event can be missed. But as a special action, the main thing is to know the measure. Shizuka for the first time, Noral reminds. Heihachi proposes to start with her. The girl immediately pulls out a bunch of rare things. Tries to remain calm, but does not work. Swisho intentionally stretches to press more. Give the tip of your finger to touch, she begs. Brutally, if the first time will end so. Estelle understands that Shizuko is as restless as the Heihachi. After a short joke, the guy sighs. Do not let you relax. Noral only laughs. Look at what position you are now to complain. Estelle's regret the poor Shizuka. But the adventures are just beginning. They continue to gambly knocked out new items. With the help of Moffa, only one SSR was pulled out. Shizuka shrugged her shoulders. One and enough. But the Okura assured they always have at least one. This time he will pull, it is guaranteed. Shizuka joked that it was worth stop to give fatal flags, but the guy relied on his power of fate. The girl could no longer twist, and Heihachi, who was already restraining Shizuka, was not going to allow it now. Persuaded, everyone makes only one attempt. Once the SSR has fallen, maybe something of the highest rank. Turn more, he insisted. Suddenly, the Shizuka was tied. The eye was surprised for what he was such a punishment. Noral suggested cool down, and Heihachi begged to unleash and give another jerk. The team asked if there was little punishment. Shizuka and Noral did not understand what was the matter. A frightened guy was apologizing. Estelle suggested to let him go. He swore that he had already realized the guilt. Noral agreed. Okay, solve. Now she wanted to look at the lottery prize. The girls tasted incredible sweets together. As expected, lottery delicacies are a cosmic level, and only one flavor is allowed a day. Shizuka sighed. They finally got only one SSR, but they received a module to expand the home. There is no point if there is no house alone, Heihachi joked, so Noral suggested. Buy a house. After the great conquest of money, there is a good opportunity, Estelle says. Heihachi supported, and could not think about his own home before. In his past life, he huddled in the apartment, so the idea of a real house seemed unusual. Ship, he summed up. Say you want to see, I take a wish. Suddenly, he noticed that they were for the first time with Estelle together. He did not squeeze why it was important. All the time with them were Noral and Shizuka. Now they were left alone for the first time. They went to the realtor. They chose the agent of the native. They decided to remain silent about the rest. He asked what housing was looking for. Estelle wanted the house closer to the Adventure Guild, and only a separate cottage. Is there something worthy? The realtor was specified, an area for 4 or more inhabitants. The mediator plunged in search of options. The best house was estimated at 90 million branches. Heihachi shuddered. In the capital, it is expensive. Their budget will have to look more closely. Heihachi thought, maybe chose a home outside the capital, both calmer and cheaper. He reported the girls about the plan, to go to the town of Brunne and look for housing there. Hano remembered that they once lived in Brunne. Shizuka was not there, so this is a great opportunity. They go tomorrow. Noral shuddered, remembering the shaking in the carriage. Is it again? But Heihachi assured, this time without bruises, no wheels. They go on a magical carpet! Shizuka wondered how much to fly. According to the atlas, just over 2 days. In order not to get lost, Heihachi will leave magical labels along the path. In fact, they flew in 3 days, the wind was against it. The first words of Shizuka. What a quiet, peaceful place. Heihachi also felt at home. Brunne's peace gave the girl the best impression of both the city and about it. Everyone was tired. Heihachi proposes to spend the night and inspect the homes tomorrow. The realtor shows a spacious cottage, 7 million branches, 5 minutes before the guild. Compared to the metropolitan 90 million, almost for nothing. Noral is happy, thank Estelle. Heihachi invites you to look at the home from the inside. The house is quite empty. Neither beds nor furniture, even bathing, just bare walls and floor. Dust is not everywhere, but the weeds reach the knee. Noral proposes to start with cleaning. Estelle immediately agrees. She is about to remove dust with windy magic. Heihachi in a panic. You will blow up the house. The girl swears that everything is under control. Estelle is polishing windows. Noral washes the floor to shine. Shizuka evaluates. The weeding of the yard will go all day. Sleeping, Estelle finds something strange under the boards. The find scares her to the screaming. Heihachi hears a cry and immediately rushes to the girl. The frightened Estelle grabs him by the hand. You there! Something black and lightning jumps out of the darkness. The creature is rushing on the 6th. By breaking the wall, the monster tries to get his goal. Shizuka grabbed Heihachi by her hand, begging for help. The monster climbed right under her clothes. The guy was confused. What to do with this unclean? Eventually pulled it out. A regular cockroach. You panic, he grunted. If there is one, there is a dozen more. The logic is ruthless. The girls realized that they were surrounded by these horrors. All the hopes for Noral. It was more difficult to clean than to fight the boss. Noral was tired of exhaustion. I thought it would be easy cleaning. And these cockroaches are just disgusting. Shizuka sighed. After the basic cleaning of Heihachi, he suggested expanding the house in a magical way. Otherwise, we will be on the race, he added, activating the subject of expansion. Nothing has changed for the eye. The disappointment of girls. In a second, Hikachi has stopped. It is necessary to turn Gacha subjects into glasses, and then spend them. The system allowed to exchange things for pointy and buy extensions. One room cost 1,000 points. The sum surprised everyone. This is an equivalent of 10 SR or 100 R subjects, not so cheap. "Let's try!" Noral exclaimed enthusiastically. Hikachi converted stocks. The portal appeared in front of them, and the new room materialized. Noral checked. Everything is ready. Construction is complete. The interior was reminiscent of a modern apartment from his former world. Wonder. They came out. The outer walls are unchanged. Estelle suggested, "It looks like a pocket measurement inside." The idea that the house grows inside imperceptibly for others. A little frightened by Heihachi, but they decided this house will become their new base. The development process started. Furniture, shelves, lamps were added. When everything was arranged, the guy asked what was still missing. "Bathroom," girls responded to unison. Hikachi installed a shower block. After the excursion, he dreamed of testing the novelty. The ladies, excitedly frowning, rushed to test the bath in the group. "The best idea is to buy this home," Estelle summed up, clapping with water. No one was waiting for Noral even in the font to wear an eye. It turned out to be shy and removes it only alone, so Noral is quite comfortable to be alone. Shizuka jokingly advised Noral, "Take the bandage and see yourself." The girl did not realize that the new expansion will need a lot of objects' time to revise the inventory. After the font, everyone felt great, but Shizuka still waved Heihachi. "Hey, you will still have time to swim." Everyone here is so comfortable that they already dream of spreading the space even more. Estelle added, "Without new girlfriends, Gachi in no way. We'll have to twist yet." Hikachi, grabbing Noral by his hand, was surprised. "Do you really want it?" He waited for Noral to propose to twist a little, and he was not mistaken. Shizuka finally understood his excitement and smiled. Estelle winks. Not to be ashamed. All in the same boat, right? To meet expectations, Heihachi promises to find a new, fatty place for hunting. The idea likes everyone. "And sometimes it is useful to empty," Noral summed up, remembering their jokes. "But how another pranks will suddenly get out of control? Especially on the No's new event. Special quest." Hikachi opens the menu. "Let's look at the card." A detailed surroundings are unfolding on the screen. Obviously, somewhere here it is necessary to go wrong. The tips are already glowing. 2 days remained by the end of the event. Fails are guaranteed, so you cannot be fooled. Estelle is worried that Hikachi does not make nonsense in the heat. But to miss such a treasure mess, unprecedented. The risk is justified. Under the terms of the quest, 2 adventurers must destroy 10 goblins. One of them grunts, but we quickly cut them. The forest today is a spooky, but the partner reassures, "No wonder. The goblins will finally get out. It's time to cut." But so far, no one has overcome this mini-raid completely. Meanwhile, the registrar warns Mr. Gurin, "Be careful." Just then, he is called to the hall. He had no idea that he would meet again. From the conversation, he learns. The guy settled here, and now on his team and the magician and the priestess. And even more, beauty. "Where did you find such a beautiful lady?" Gurin is surprised. Akuram was discouraged. "But they just met." Gurin asks to answer several questions. Did they notice strange things lately? If so, it is better to tell immediately. Okura clarifies. "Is this about those strange goblins?" For the first time, Hikachi hears about the special goblins. Intrigue is just beginning. Goblins are already wiring with swords, meadows, and other weapons, increasingly attacking adventurers. It is better to stay away from their forests, but Okura was just convinced. This is exactly the place. Everything coincides with the tips in the phone, a mutation quest. The team takes off on the carpet directly to the goblin form to understand the situation. Noral notes that Heihachi lately is amazing to overcome all the problems, as if he were in a hurry. Rumors say that the guild has already sent a rank B detachment for intelligence. If they cover the quest earlier, the Heihachi prize will fly by. Shizuka teases, "Greedy?" The guy replies, "Just wants an honest reward," to say it aloud. But in fact it does not work for the benefit, but it does not return to this tongue. The forest inspired neural memories of past failure. Heihachi regrets for those events, and Shizuka rejoices in a new adventure. Estelle also curses insects. There is no goblins in a trace. Noral begins to doubt whether they exist. Shizuka suggests that they may have been wrong with the forest, but she notices something that stops behind. They look down empty, but the goblin tutor is already aimed nearby. Shizuka warns Estelle in time about danger. The arrow was only hung. Estelle was pulled out at the last moment. There is another goblin with a sword. Rumors have been confirmed. Looking at the phone, Heihachi sees how they run away. Probably to Logov, he suggests. The team decides to trace. Noral catches a bunch of signals. Enemies nearby had to run here. It proposes to climb into the hole. Somewhere in the distance, someone is already watching them. Heihachi lights a quality magical lantern to illuminate the path. The girls wonder, who dredged such a move? The novel is worried that the ceiling can collapse. In the dark, they are thrown again with goblins. By some point they keep, and suddenly, monsters start a magical charge. So, there is a sorcerer among the enemies. That was to be afraid. Conclusion, these are black goblins, a special subspecies. Shizuka feels powerful magical stones nearby and announces hunting. The opponents were easy. Their armor simply could not stand the attack. The efficiency of the clearing was stunned by even Heihachi. The team flew through enemies like a storm. Without unnecessary delay, they rushed to the fleece. The trail leads to a strange dungeon. Noral notes that the walls resemble classic dungeon. The adventures are just beginning. The team already thought that she was in a dead end when Mogoblin activated a secret mechanism, and everything broke around the runes. The light circles cried out their space, like a cage. The joy of goblins exploded with victorious shouts. But the moment of the triumph broke. The circle melted, and the monsters froze with surprise. In a second, they put them on the blades of a stranger shadow. No goblin did not even have time to squeak. The owner of the power of Gachi, the elect of the gods, whispered someone, fascinated by his possibilities. After the teleportation, Heihachi and Shizuka clapped on the stone floor of the dungeon. The girl landed just on the boy, and at first did not rush anything. Squeezing, she jumped, burning with shame, and apologized. Heihachi almost died of embarrassment, but Sheka urged to forget the incident and find out where they were. Then he realized Noral and Estelle disappeared. The teleport scattered them. Wanted to put a lighthouse, but the resources ended. He mentioned a distant connection. The answering car reported, subscriber outside the reach. Shizuka reassured. The girls are strong. Everything is fine with them. Yes, it is about Noral-san and Estelle-san, Heihachi agreed, taking a deep breath. Having apologized for panic, she suggested that she start searches and promised to protect the Akure-san. Somewhere in the next tunnel, Noral panicked his brothers. They tried to split, but the radio was silent again. We need to find them as soon as possible, Estelle whispered, worried about the guy who always gets into the adventures. In a moment, a huge boulder rolled into the girls, tearing stones from the ceiling. Meanwhile, Heihachi and Shizuka realized how uncomfortable without Noral and Estelle. The guy doubted himself, though he fought well. Shizuka saw more in it than he himself. She felt his uncertainty restrained strength. She imagined as he says, I will protect you. She wounded to hear these words, but Heihachi knew. Shea was actually stronger. I am also a girl, and I want to hear support, she smiled. The guy was scratching. For the first time, someone so frankly called his shyness the cause of silence. The girl laughed and ordered the abandoned thoughts to move on. Suddenly, a roar came from the dark corridor. Something great was going to meet. No one expected to see a person here. The figure was suspicious. Not a demon, probably an adventurer of rank B, seconded to investigate. The stranger bowed and whispered, Take a mask, imbued with the abyss, as a gift of Logos. His words sounded ominously and mysteriously. Shizuka did not stop what he meant. The stranger dreamed of the abyss of Pandora's treasures, and the eye of the demon, which would create a legion of God. He predicted that he would bring destructive darkness in the soul of sinners. Your creatures will be victims and disappear, he spikes, rejoicing in his own horror. The girl did not understand what these delusional threats were going on. Heihachi took over Noral and Estelle, so he suggested going on. Shizuka agreed. They apologized to the stranger. They have urgent affairs and have to go. He released a spell that almost torn the body of Heihachi. Shizuka quickly treated him. The guy recovered, but the shock remained. Heihachi boiled anger. This type is clearly not an adventurer. He was really worried. The foreigner was anyone, but not from the guild. Shizuka rushed into the attack and she was stopped by a girl in a cloak that came out of the air. Heihachi seemed to be familiar. She reproached the master that worried when he acted himself. He replied, she went out of the way. Shizuka warned Heihachi, the girl is not ordinary. She is from the core of the virgins. That is, the character of the same type as the sixth. Meanwhile, monsters wandered everywhere in the depths of the maze, which other girls were skillfully spreading. Noral and Estelle had to run away from the boulder who chased the corridor. Estelle suddenly remembered. Shizuka knows that girl. This is Sylve Rock, a Ultra ID character from Female Core. Heihachi remembered how many stones he spent, trying to knock down Sylvia. Do not ask if it has succeeded, he waved. Once Sylvie is next to the type, he is the same Gacha player as Heihachi. The guy realized, The opponent also took advantage of the invitation, and has his own purpose in this world. So obviously he hunts magical stones and is about to chase them. The stranger stated that as the Guild of Genesis, all Arcadia already belongs to the Master. And not only this maze, but all the treasures of the world will be it, Sylvie added, preparing for battle. Hikachi was indignant. No one has the right to decide for everyone who belongs. He was going to put an end to Narabi right here and now. Sylvie was lightning from the first blow, and the battle broke out. Both girls simultaneously came up in a decisive collision. Hikachi said, "I will be her rival. Your turn to rest." Shizuka has repeatedly rescued him, so now he wanted to thank him. But the stranger easily picked up the guy and threw up like a doll. Is he a magician? Hikachi was surprised, feeling the great power of the enemy. Meanwhile, a girls' duo and Sylvie exchanged crazy blows. Shizuka acknowledged, Slyvie is a worthy rival. But the priestess is so easy not to break. She was offset by healing. Sylvie decided to exhaust the opponent, cutting until she was running out of Manu. Heihachi noticed that the enemy uses Gacha relics, so he can also answer the same. He activated the wind bracelet, but he barely scratched a stranger. The opponent has already unnoticed his own territory. A trap field. The guy did not even realize when he could. The explosion stunned everyone. Shizuka rushed to check the eye. Is he whole? She felt that the trap was drawn in the manu of 2. The power increased twice. Estelle and Noral were just deeper from the stone trap. A pit with thorns? Horror. Estelle shuddered. Noral appreciated that they had penetrated very far. The girls worried about friends and believed they keep. On the battlefield of Shizuka and Sylvie, they were still exchanging blows. Suddenly a spark jumped out of the wall. The seal began to collapse. Hikachi realized, although strong is not too much, it should protect the 6th. The girl was already herself, but the torn fabric on her breast knocked out of balance where to look. The foreigner laughed at the indestructible power of the guy and ordered Sylvie to remove the restraints. Shizuka felt a dangerous shift and alert. Something strange came from the darkness. It is not at all like the ability of Sylve. No one could determine what the essence was. How did this go to the Hoblin maze? Shizuka thought. She called Heihachi. The main threat is ahead. Suddenly it turned out, it is. Goblin giant. The force is not inferior to Hippo. Shizuka offered a truce. Now is not the time for quarrels. First, we will destroy the monster together. It's time to pay out. He decided to launch the punitive regime. But Sylvie with the master rehearsed, leaving the couple alone with the goblin Behem. That's the coward. The guy was indignant. Shizuka appreciated. The monster attack. 4,500, 1.5 times higher than in Sylve. Conclusion. We run. They barely kept on their feet after the battle, and the monster was still fresh. The front battle is suicide. The hippo goblin crawled like cardboard. How long will he pursue us? Shizuka breathed. They understood that he did not escape from him. It is necessary to destroy. Armor, 9,000. Without magic not to punch, so Goblin himself must be targeted. Wind Brace will not have enough power, Hichachi admitted. Bracelet arrows past the target. Shizuka asked to aim to be more precise. Suddenly, because of the corner, it thundered. Maybe it's a Noral of Estelle? And they rushed to the sound. But the girls themselves lost their boys. Shizuka grunted. The monster is stubborn as a donkey. How much more will he drive them? She was noticeably tired, and Heihachi tormented. Is I at all able to protect her? Then a plan broke out in his head, to distract the monster. I will lure him and you will be dynamite, he explained. If the Shizuka puts all magical gunpowder into the explosives, there is a chance. Will you not die? She was worried. Hikachi assured, I will not fall after one blow. Although he doubted, his sincerity embarrassed the girl. You said exactly what I wanted to hear, Shizuka whispered, blushing. She took magic dynamite and prepared. Hikachi, gathering freedom, rushed to distract Healthy. He grabbed a giant paw, restrained the blow, and shouted, Suisuho, faster! The girl jumped like a cat and stuffed the explosive with a monster just into the mouth. A gift for persecution. The explosion dispersed the corridor. Shizuka felt the case was done. Why did you risk? Hikachi explained. There was no other chance. Shizuka still reproached. Dangerous, but effective. Noral and Estelle found them on the sound of the explosion. Noral remembered that she had already got into such mess. Thank the gods, all alive. Even the Shizuka barely kept. Noral asked who the two were in the cloaks. Shizuka replied, she didn't know. But they dreamed of treasure. Hikachi received a system notification. The face tensed. A new danger ahead. The quest suddenly reflected as a failed. Another player closed the event, and the anomaly, along with the goblin maze, disappeared. That stranger was madly glad. The Legion of the Renaissance became one step closer. It turned out, the anomalous quest disappears as soon as someone finishes it. Shizuka thought, so they were the two and took all the awards. She promised, they will not escape the next meeting. The foreigner dreamed of even more quests and even more powerful Gacha submit. Collect the perfect team and we'll flew everyone out of the way. Hikachi skeptically hung. So always say the villains. The anomalous quest ended in failure, 0 awards. Now it was necessary to find out where the two came from. Hikachi remembered the words of Silva. All the treasures of the world belong to the master. Their goals are incomprehensible, but they will clearly intersect, especially after they removed all the trophies while he fought with a hippo. The most busy was that the opponent knocked out Silva and Heihachi did not. In this mood, you only want to rotate the gowl. There was a notification here. The timely event has begun. Noral noticed that the eyepiece was surprisingly nervous. Estelle asked, "What this time?" The expression is even gloomy than always. The guy plunged into the phone, reading the conditions of the event. The girls did not understand why such seriousness was so serious. He replied, "Fula Gacha. That is, after collecting all the special items of the list, you get an ultra prize." In his world, because of such actions, even the government interfered. So dangerous. Once upon a time, he also got involved. Every time the same things fell out, even with a magic card expenditures only increased, finally remained without money for food. Shizuka did not understand everything, but full gotch sounded seductive. Estelle suggested simply, not to participate. Heihachi almost agreed, but the time of the appearance of the Hole-chan coincided perfectly. It was Luna-chan who once tried in vain to knock out. Now it is given for full gotch. Skip this is a crime. With an arsenal of 9,000 stones, they can make 15 scrolls times 11. The first was spinning Shizuka for her high hopes. Hikachi was convinced that this time he would meet Luna-chan. The first attempt, and Shizuka did not get the right object. The girl was disappointed. "I have a failure like you, Okura-dono." The guy denied, "I had a little better happy." Shizuka realized, when you treat gachi the same, and the result is similar. On the second attempt, Shizuka still knocked out one of the necessary items. Noral threw jackpot in general, 2 needed lots. Heihachi called Noral incredible. And Shizuka, envy, joked that she was ready to drink teas from the dirt of her legs to take away such fortune. Thus, 3 out of 5 positions in the pocket. Only SR Rich and SSSR Rang remained. Estelle reassured. Excitement was in vain. The success of the twists exceeded all expectations. No miss. As if the universe itself became a happy artifact, Hikachi joked. Moreover, the Mafia pulled out the right object on the 4th attempt, which caused a wave of admiration and endless compliments from the guy. Shizuka lightly sealed Heihachi for the excessive embrace of the rabbit. Now only the SSSR Rumen Law remained. Hikachi Q. It has 4 packages of 11 rotations. He was convinced of the victory. Road, now we will close the carnival. But the first pool gave only a burning glove artifact. Shizuka insisted that it was also important. Hikachi recalled that the same has fallen. A double. He did not expect an identical item to fall twice in a row. Next time for sure, he cheered himself. The distortion without misses seemed divine, but 3 attempts remained. The second and third attempts again gave duplicates. Nerves on the verge. Estelle realized why the brother was so afraid of Fulagachi. Heihachi already thought that someone had replaced the chances. But there was another cast. His greatest fear is not to meet Luna-chan even in this world. Therefore, the retreat was not discussed. The guaranteed SSR rap brought a completely different item. Silence reigned in the hall. Hikachi boils, "Where is my Moon-chan?" Noral reminded. The stones were over. The guy pleaded, "Once again." He frankly boiling a mini embarrassment began. Estelle proposed a strategic meeting. Shizuka stated, "Without stones, the game is over." But Heihachi stubbornly stated that he was picking up a new portion of stones for the other 5 days. Noral gently hinted that maybe it was worth it, but the guy stood firmly. They spent so much to retreat late, so the plan is to paint and twist. The team sighed but agreed. Once he decided, we will support. Ahead of 5 days of hunting for stones and another chance for the hood, Noral sighed. You still have little sparkle? I can no longer withstand the marathon. Hikachi reassured. The lesson is learned. Now we have a plan. He explained that beginners will also be able to paint stones, and the team will calculate the prey. He introduced everyone, Illumino and Camilla, their wards. These are green recruits under my supervision. Real salvation, Heihachi rejoiced. Asking people to kill black orcs is an unusual request. But it is a trifle for them. Heihachi added, we have our reasons, so accept the quest. Shizuka suggested that you apply to Grin-san for formal approval. More people equals faster pharma. But if someone else has a monster, the stone does not fall. Tested with the Tao's team, so we work on ourselves. Everyone agreed. We returned to the old scheme. Shizuka still praised the idea and promised to attract Grin-san for convenience. The location looked creepy, solid burrows and stench. This is a whole nest of the monster. If you hit here, it can pour a horde. The novel waved her hand. The knight will quickly understand and will be considered when the black orcs appear. Haichachi first attracted their attention to the rest. The punch of the orca turned out to be unexpectedly powerful. The guy was already hanging out. Shizuka suggested that it is thanks to Buff Estelle. Support gives confidence. Estelle is incredible, he agreed. But the stones were almost not falling. When it kills several people at once, loot does not multiply. Camila showed Heihachi ring. On her fingers shone the ring of the keeper. Hichachi glanced his eyes. Camila shrugged. She got recently. Importantly, the guy realized, this is Gacha equipe. Where do newcomers come from? So the croutons are stolen by teams. Illumino explained. The decorations were fascinated, so the boys wanted to try them in the field. Hayakachi was surprised that they had a similar equipment, but they continued the hunt. Task, to maximize the production of stones. Illumino cut the monsters skillfully, proving that he was not trained in vain. The number of stones finally began to grow rapidly. The further they came, the more black orcs jumped out of the tunnels. In this way, the team opened a new scheme of fast stones only 4 days left to the end of full gachi. A real marathon on Pharism of magical stones began. The team twisted Gak almost without stopping, at the same time collecting new stones. Shizuka noticed that the eye was looking exhausted and worried. Several days have passed. The stones fell generously, but the dream of the last subject was still not, and almost no strength was left. Heihachi thought, but Noral reminded, "You promised to save me." Suddenly sparks fell from the ceilings. Something strange was happening with it. She was okay to burn the forest with the monsters. "Will you be glad if I do so?" Heihachi tried to calm his girlfriend, but Estelle insisted, "We have to destroy more." Shizuka asked Noral to bring Estelle to the camp. "We will trust the rest." Without serious adventures, the last day of hunting ended. Estelle apologized. She wanted to help, but only interfered. Hayakachi assured that he should apologize for not noticing her fatigue. Time to act according to plan. Balance 150 stones. Enough for 3 multi-peruggers. The first to twist the happiest, Noral and Moth. The girl prayed sincerely for everything to end this time. "If they do not pull out, who can?" Heikachi sighed. Noral reminded that she has long advised to stop, but now it is late. The guy did not understand why everyone was looking as if the end of the world had come. Shizuka's optimism surprised others. She reminded, they still have a chance. Hayakachi left only 1 multi-tube, but the last package was still waiting. He suggested, "Let Shizuka try." The girl was surprised by such trust, but the guy insisted, "I believe in you." Although intuition told him it, Shizuka remembered that she had not pulled out any SSR yet. She felt her usual confidence disappear. It is time to show true herself. "Okay," she nodded. "Let's see what I am capable of." Estelle supported. "If it is a 6, we have every chance." The trust of his brother added strength. Heihachi, the only one who was still holding a cold head, hoped for a miracle. He announced, "If this time it does not fall out, it will be ours, not my loss." But his speech was snatched by Shizuka's voice, which had already pressed the last scroll button. Finally, the room exterior fell, the team overwhelmed the long-awaited joy. Waking up, Shizuka caught Heihachi for a frantic cleaning. From the morning he has rubbed everything to shine, the house not to recognize. The girl asked to stop and faster to call the manchan. But at first she wants to do another thing. The moon should be caused in the new room. No one will notice them inside the house. The time of the long-awaited call of a lunar girl. There is an error on the phone screen. Heihachi explained, "We'll apply a cost discount, then they will get into the limit. Now you need to decide who to use it, if the spell is great." Shizuka thanked, though the guy did not understand why she was so happy. Noral and Estelle watch with surprise. They first see a living call. Luna-chan appeared and Heihachi rushed to say hello, but the girl called him frightening, which she offended, despite his efforts. Estelle and Noral also introduced themselves. Camila added a couple of merry notes, hoping that everyone would make friends. Luna whispered to Heihachi, "What is wrong with this?" and glanced at the 6. Estelle was quietly warned. Shizuka behaves strangely. Shizuka tried to get closer to Nu, but the moon felt aversion, pushed it away and forbade it to approach closer. "She is my enemy," said the moon girl. Shizuka is confused. She did not offend the moon. Heihachi also does not understand the cause. He tries to comfort himself. Relationships are gradually getting better. It offers Brunne's walk, but the moon categorically refuses. I will not go anywhere with the 6. And I do not like the light of the sun, she cut off. Hunting in caves. Again, Hunting trusts the team. I don't like to fight. Heihachi thought she would do nothing and made a mistake. The moon stated, keeping a house, and now I go to bed, free the room. Everyone was stuck. Is the new ally going to sit at home all the time?